the area that was the crime scene based on the cell phone records. This is 11 minutes after that, where this is Garlington and Boyer, who we have discussed, asking again to get on FaceTime. So that's why the state is playing this call and feels that it is a co-conspirator statement. We don't know what they're about to discuss, but in fact, they're going to talk on FaceTime at this specific period in time. Your Honor.
Okay. Is there objection? It appears there is objection. There's just uncertainty as to who's going to voice that objection.
I think we have different objections.
Okay.
I'm going to object. I don't see how this is furthering any conspiracy. I understand that the state wants to they have things in these calls that they feel is important and is relevant, but you still need the hook of the hearsay exception if these gentlemen are not testifying. So my objection is that it's not furthering any conspiracy.
Okay. And before anybody else makes one, just so I understand, so are you going to have some, or have you already had some expert testimony that explains why a FaceTime call might be beneficial for utilizing in a criminal enterprise?
So, Your Honor, old school Mike. Your Honor, two things. One, Demekion Garlington himself, in a call we have not reached, he explains, get on FaceTime because they can't record that SHIT. So he says that. I don't remember the exact call, but we will get to it eventually. And so, for one, that's his own statement. Number two, I wasn't present when Detective Belknap first testified, and so I don't know if he addressed that, but it's my understanding that Detective Viverito, when she is reached, is going to discuss, because it's intimately wrapped up into this murder of Shamel Drinks from the state's theory.
Okay.
And Detective Racy, who discussed the April 26th shooting of Mr. Dwayne Carter's tour bus, talked about how FaceTime doesn't show up in records. And so.
All right. Thank you. I'm going to overrule that objection. Was there another one?
Just at the end, Your Honor, this is not, Mr. Williams is not on any wiretap, as you probably can tell. So I was going to ask for an instruction, especially if you let things in that's not in furtherance of a conspiracy, because then that should not touch Mr. Williams. So I was going to do it at the end, but when you asked for, are there any objections? Yes, I'm going to have an overall objection.
Okay, so I mean, this I am admitting as being in furtherance of the conspiracy. So with regard to any that I have let in, not under that basis, but under a different evidentiary exception, if y'all wouldn't mind, I think maybe the only one that's occurred for so far is the one that I let in as a statement against penal interest. Okay. And Mr. Harvey had also asked for a limiting instruction as to that. Now, the issue that is still, I'm not sure 100% settled on this, is whether a limiting instruction is appropriate when the evidence is coming in to show, to prove some part of the RICO count, which everybody here is charged with. So that's what, you know, I'm not sure whether it's appropriate to give a limiting instruction in that circumstance.
I believe it would be, because if it's not furthering the conspiracy, and I'm not saying the jury will find Mr. Williams willfully and knowingly joined a conspiracy. I understand that, but the court must have made a finding that there was at least some evidence of a conspiracy. So then it becomes a
True.
statement. Right.
You make a good point there. Yes. So I guess yes, you're right. So if I have, and I did for that one specifically said, I don't find any kind of furtherance of a conspiracy with regard to that one, then yeah, a limiting instruction I would think would be appropriate as to that. So if somebody doesn't mind keeping track of which of those need one, then if y'all would provide me also with a suggested limiting instruction, I would give that. I think that would be appropriate. Thank you.
And Judge, just for the purposes of the court's knowledge about the prima facie showing of a conspiracy overall, there was a finding prior to the court presiding
Okay.
of a conspiracy, that there has been evidence shown of a conspiracy. That finding was made particularly on the record as it relates to count one. Judge Glanville said, he flat out said, I find that the state has presented evidence showing a conspiracy that tends to show a conspiracy.
Okay, sure. But we're talking here about a statement that's not made in furtherance of a conspiracy. Would that statement
So we
come in to show as evidence to prove RICO?
We believe that it would. The purpose of the co-conspirator statement is to provide an exception to the hearsay rule.
Right.
And the fact that the court admitted it under another exception to the hearsay rule doesn't make it applicable only to proof of against the declarant.
Okay, well, I'd love some law. I guess maybe that's still not settled. So I'd love some law from whomever wants to provide me some on that. I mean, that's very nuanced. So we want to get it correct legally. Right. All right.
Your Honor,
Mm-hmm.
if I may,
Sure.
what with the call that we just discussed, number 360 in the FaceTime
Yeah.
call, what was the court's ruling?
That is in as a co-conspirator statement.
So specifically for that one has made in, like the discussion we just had about,
Yeah, the only one that I have so far, there are two I haven't let in and one I let in under an exception that wasn't co-conspirator.
yes, Your Honor.
So for the rest of them, they've all been under the co-conspirator exception.
And Your Honor, for your notes, I believe that was PDF page 152, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right.
Thank you, Your Honor. The next call we're going to be turning to, Your Honor, is going to be 423. And just to give the court a little bit of backstory, in addition to what Deputy Hilton discussed this morning, is this call is on March 16th, 2022 at 12:22 a.m. This is when at 2830 Waters Road, APD police officers arrived approximately around 12:08 a.m. after a lot of gunshots, which resulted in 11 defects in the front of that home, which ultimately inside of that home was Defendant Stillwell, Demekion Garlington, whose wiretap we have, Miles Farley, who is not in the current trial, but is charged with the murder of Shamel Drinks, as well as other YSL associates. And the significance is the shell casings from the murder of Mr. Ford and Mr. McMiller were connected with the Waters Road. And so this retaliatory back and forth, that backstory is significant with these calls we're about to play.
Okay.
So Your Honor, with that said, I'm going to play PDF page 423. And for this one, we're going to play the entire call.
Okay.
like no little back. Hey, where the hell you at? Where the hell you at? Hey, ain't like no little back cut. I don't know. Where they at? I think they in the front. And they gotta goddamn get through their back. They can't come in the house. Yeah, that was my house. Shut up, open the door.
And so, Your Honor, them whispering, this is Mr. Boyer, who Garlington is speaking with, his phone number. So officers, when they arrive, they ring the doorbell camera. There's a brief exchange from someone inside, and then they don't respond anymore. And ultimately, Demikion Garlington was in a crawl space. It was raining that night. And so the significance of this is they're speaking amongst each other because they don't initially know, who's at the door. Police respond because of all the shots that were into the home. And so it shows their coordination. And although the phone number itself for 423 is Mr. Boyer's, one of my co-counsels had stated, we believe it's defendant Stillwell on the call. But the significance of them speaking while, it's 20 minutes after APD arrives to the house, and it takes some time for them to fully come out of the home. So it's in furtherance of the conspiracy because they're coordinating with one another about where are you? And he says, I'm in the woods. And then I believe Mr. Garlington is underneath the house when he's making this call in the crawl space.
So the context of this call is after, it's directly after, to my understanding, individuals shot at 2830 Waters Road. That would not be a crime committed by our clients. I don't know what could, I think the context of the call makes it clear that they're trying to avoid interactions with the police. I mean, I'm not going to argue that that's not the context, but I don't know if that's part of a criminal conspiracy. I mean, they were just victimized and they're trying not to talk to the police about it. I don't know if communications on a phone about that would be in furtherance of a conspiracy because there's no underlying criminal act, as far as I know of, that is being furthered.
Your Honor, the conspiracy itself, coordinating with one another in the wake of an act that has been committed in the wake of criminal activity at that house. We believe that the other calls will show that there are guns in the attic that they want to keep concealed from the police. They want to keep themselves secreted and separate from that location. It's one of their trap houses, and them coordinating with one another to evade detection by the police does further the interests of the gang by keeping themselves from being detected and found out and connected to that house by the police. So calling to find out where each other is, because the police did descend upon this house where hundreds of shell casings were found in the yard. And it was one of those central locations that was involved in the wake of the shooting of Mr. Ford, Mr. McMiller, and Mr. Drinks. We believe that this communication does further the conspiracy of the YSL enterprise and the criminal street gang and its enduring, detection from the police for their criminal activities by apprising each other of where they are in relation to the hot spot or the hot zone.
Okay, and let me ask you so that I am sure what my understanding of it is. Mr. Atkins, you had said shell casings from this scene are connected to the Drinks murder. So this wasn't just like a shoot up. This was a shoot back and forth.
So, Your Honor, the shell casings from Waters Road connected with the murder on March 11th of Mr. McMiller and Mr. Ford, who were.
Okay, I misunderstood you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
So
All right.
it's the state's belief that the rival gang was responsible for both.
No,
the
I
death-
understand. I
Right, yes,
just
Your Honor.
had written down the wrong set of murders.
And Your Honor, I left out one, I think, relevant fact. The police actually did come in contact with these individuals eventually,
Mm-hmm.
and they released them without charging them with anything.
Is that before, I mean, did they search the house at that
Yes.
point?
Yeah, well, so they see a gentleman in the house laying down, and then they trying to speak accurately about how this happened. They went into the house. That's right. They went in the house upon seeing someone on the ground and detained all the individuals and then let them go without filing any charges.
They didn't search the house that day. They went in and detained, and Mr. Stillwell was later found to have been wearing at the house the same clothes.
Okay.
But no, they didn't search the house at that time. They
Okay.
didn't have a search warrant for it.
I'd never said anything about them searching the house or
Oh,
not searching the
But
house.
that's what
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
This is America's border czar, and she's failed us. Under Harris, over 10 million illegally here. 250,000 Americans dead from fentanyl. Brutal migrant crimes. And ISIS now here.
Do you have any plans to visit the border? You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. I mean, I don't understand the point that you're making.
Kamala Harris, failed, weak, dangerously liberal.
Oh, nothing works on this acne.
Hi. Who? I'm a licensed dermatology provider from Curology. Answer a few questions, I'll look at your skin and prescribe you a personalized cream.
Wow.
Curology, skincare with a face.
Reference in the calls
Okay.
were removed from the house. There was a number of things that were in the house that we know were in the house prior to them searching the house that were not in the house when they searched the house.
Well, based on, and we're gonna hear that soon enough.
Yes.
Based on what's about to come up, I'm gonna admit that under the co-conspirator exception, since there's apparently some evidence that they were concerned about some criminal activity or contraband or something in the house.
Yes, and I think that the next call might shed
All
more
right.
light on it.
So, Your Honor, the next call we're turning to is 472. So the call we just played was at 12:22 a.m. This is at 4:33 a.m. again on March 16th.
Oh, you good, man?
Hello?
You good?
Yeah. What is that?
What the hell you mean, man?
Oh, I ain't even say, I ain't saving no number.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For sure.
Where the hell you at? You gone?
Yeah, I'm about to drop miles off.
7 miles, boy, it's all love. Boy, I can't wait, boy. I gotta go home.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's been running in the store real quick.
Yeah, so it was all love. I ain't waiting, boy. I gotta go, boy. That shit just shook the fuck out of me.
Man, what? Man, when I seen it, when I seen it,
Man, what? Man, that whole just made, boy, listen, boy, I just said to myself, boy, man, let me out that car. Boy, I'm gonna go in, boy, and I ain't coming back outside, boy. I don't care if I have no run or nothing, boy. Them motherfuckers ain't moving.
hey, what? I said the same shit, what? Somebody really think I'm like, yeah, man. I'm like,
What's so crazy, bro? I was just being cheap. I actually was being cheap. My whole kid saying, let's get it wrong like that, but I'm not gonna pay for no wrong. Man, listen, boy. I just said, damn, boy. They can send a nigga right street with their money like that. My nigga gonna spend this shit on them in the room, man.
Man, what? I'm
Fuck
trying
up.
hey, that's on DV. I'm in there like, but I got to get my last 2,000. I got to get lawyered in. I'm like, man. I'm in that bitch like, man, damn.
But you won't believe, boy. All the sticks and the guns was in the gray car.
For real?
Man, God, boy. And the sticks and shit in the attic.
Ooh. Shit. Boy, that was God, boy.
Yeah, what?
Your Honor, I will continue playing, but when they're saying that the sticks are up in the attic, it's the state's theory that they're talking about the Waters Roadhouse.
We're talking about what?
When we were just discussing what's inside of the home or not inside the home, it's the states that line about their sticks up in the attic. Sticks is short term for AK-47s or longer handguns. I mean, rifles, that they're talking about the guns in the attic of the Waters Road home that all these police swarmed after the gunshots. I'm going to continue playing. And also to orient the court, Your Honor, this phone number, which ends in 1103, the state attributes to Mr. Shard's client. So it's Garlington and him speaking.
That was good. Yeah. Oh, Lord, yeah, get up out of there, bro. Baby. What, that way? Yeah. There you go. You know what I mean, though?
Yeah, nah, man. You know how far I gotta go.
Oh, yeah. Poke got down, blowed up.
She what?
You blowed it up, boy.
Hey, man, she blowed my shit up.
You saying Shannon okay, man? How long did we do?
All right.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah. You walk past me first thing, I'm like, well, I know for a fact.
Well, what? You know who she was coming to then.
You say I done said the same shit though. She like, cause she like, who house is it? I'm like, damn, I don't know. I'm telling you my first time here. She was like,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Man, listen, bro. I'm thinking, get what I kept saying. I said, boy, I know D and Mild, I'm smart. I know they saw them folk got her. It took her to the front. I said, I know they hit that back cut.
I wouldn't even believe. I'm trying to find out on the back cut. That's why I called you.
Man, you talking about, well, I would have made one straight through the motherfucking bush back there, boy. I'm telling you, I would have trucking back there.
Well, guess what? We only got caught. This time I mean, once they legs showing, he thinks somebody in the house dead, bro.
Man, they tell me, they like, so you telling me nobody in the house? I'm like, hell, man, I ain't listen, man. I just pulled up. I said, I outside for 3 minutes. Top, the motherfucker go popping. So shit.
Oh, God, I said the same shit.
Oh, God, boy, I sat outside 3 minutes. Popping, that motherfucker went to popping. So shit, I went to the goddamn ducking and running. They to my soul, why you ain't? They to my so why you ain't got down? I thought it comes on some. They to my so why you ain't got down? Come out when we said Atlanta police. I'm like, shit, I don't trust Atlanta police. I'm thinking these folks. I'm thinking these folks trying to get her to come out. So I stayed in.
Yeah.
Oh God, they're like, yeah. I'm like, look, bro, y'all question me like I'm a suspect. I'm a victim. They're like, yeah, you right. They're like, but let's do what we gotta do. We'll get back with you if everything come out clean. Then we'll let y'all go. Like, say, Lynn, I'm in the car sleep. I can't wait. When they tell me that, I kick back. Don't goddamn go out.
Yeah.
Oh God.
You know that? They can't get the video from Nick on camera quick.
Hell no.
Yeah, okay.
But you wouldn't believe, boy. I'm in the mother like, boy, I know they can't come in here. We good, Brett. I'm telling Brett, like, we good, but they proud of it.
You told me I was in the woods.
Huh?
You told me I was in the woods.
I was up under the house, man. You don't see how dirty I am?
Oh, we heard them get they like, hey, move. She like, hey, I dumb ass I go out the back door. No, I go out the back door, right? So I'm finna go toward the car and hop in the car, just sit in the car the whole time. That's what they hit to. Man, I go to the other side, finna try to hop the fence. They like, hey.
I'm telling you what you gonna do. Go get that cut, boy.
I know it. Everybody would have cut water. They said they didn't know.
Man, listen, man. You probably made your cut. Yeah, like you ain't from the hood, boy. You know how this shit go. I would have went back there and made me a cut, boy. I would have been trucking through the motherfucker. That's why my goddamn shoes so dirty, my pants dirty, and my shoes dirty.
Real. They say, so this is about Matt, man? I said, ma'am, I don't know.
Man, listen, man. They asked me, do I know Matt, man? I said, I don't know no motherfucking Matt, man. Who are that?
Yeah.
I said, man, I'm not even from over here, bro. I'm from Tumbleville area, bro.
Yeah.
So what you doing over here? Man, I came to see a friend, man. I'm trying to talk about that game, man.
Fuck you talking about? Damn, man. That whole blowing me up. That whole thinking nigga Sheen, all type of shit. That nigga was so cool though. He got damn called it back. I need to put a lock on my phone and take my have my messages pop out.
This shit crazy, bro. I'm finna go in, boy. I'm finna gotta get out the driver's seat, let her drive, tell her drive slow as possible. I got down, my stupid ass went in the car, got my stick out the car and my FN out the car. Watch her right there, and got in the car, pulled out. They're really why I ain't want to wait on mine.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm gonna text now. Hey, yeah, man. Folks blowing her air. She called too.
So how she get? How she get no?
I don't know, cause you know, Kira got my Instagram on her phone.
Oh.
Everybody DM like, "Is you okay?" So goddamn, yeah, blowing up. So my Kira was already on the phone. I get Kira sent her number to
Poke.
Yeah, Poke. I was on the phone. Damn, man. But I say, I'm like, yeah, bro.
Bro, listen, bro. I kept saying to myself, I don't know what the fuck. I'm on drill time though, so I'm really like, I ain't going nowhere. But I'm telling myself, pull out, AB, pull out.
You ain't hear me say, boy, let go.
Man, listen, you said let go, Miles said let go, Brett said let go, but I'm on drill time, so I'm just like, man, fuck that, boy.
Yeah.
I'm so mad. This time they served, he was just telling me like, he was like, either somebody follow D or your girl or it's that whole Elmo, cause they serve Elmo. I was like, man, Elmo, Elmo fuck with them folk.
Yeah. Ain't nobody following me. Nobody on the freeway when I got off of nothing.
Man, listen, man. Don't nobody know my hoe. Come my hoe in a run, man. Fresh run, a new run. That motherfucker Jake got any run. And my hoe coming from goddamn, all the way from goddamn out here. So, come on, man. Stop playing.
Yeah, man. I know for a fact nobody follow me. Y'all need to know what I'm in. Don't nobody know I fuck with the hoe.
Don't nobody know what I'm in, though. I'm telling, like, these folks ain't knowing these cars. Though, I'm telling him, like, bro, these folks ain't knowing none of these cars, bro. All these cars are some new goddamn cars. Niggas ain't played.
Yeah. Damn, I hear them boys. Damn.
They're crazy, bro. Don't nobody know. Them folk don't be knowing where that spot at, man.
Yeah.
Somebody get head drop out, boy.
But on God, boy, I know what I believe. On TV, that's what I believe, boy.
Somebody head get it. Hey, boy, I ain't gonna lie, boy. I know you happy like I'm happy, boy. I'm happy as hell, boy. I just was saying to myself. Get what I just was saying to myself. I just was saying to myself, boy. Man, all these niggas might get out except me and D, boy.
Oh, man, on God.
I'm like the him, boy.
I'm gonna call you back out.
Yeah.
That's the end of that call, Your Honor. The state feels this really has two methods of admissibility. The state feels that Garlington and defendant Stillwell speaking about, for one, when they say sticks and FNs, those are firearms. They're mentioning about a female they know, and they say that she's dating or sleeping with the ops. They're also mention how APD, this is 2022, was the APD gang units was following the YSL and YFN or IF gang back and forth. And so they kind of, in APD gang unit, when they were talking about, they're like, I don't know McMain. They're laughing. They're kind of saying, I just got to the house. APD is thinking like before the investigation is complete, because the shooting just happened, that it was probably YFN who just shot up this Waters Road, which is a known YSL spot because they believe that they murdered their friends 5 days ago. And so with that said, all of their conversation, they're talking about getting away. You should have run this way through the woods. And when he says, I'm on drill time, because they were just shot at by the state's theory of rivals, if you're on drill time, you're trying to go either shoot somebody or murder somebody in retaliation. And so that's why he says, I was so mad I was on drill time, but the police came because they were just shot at. So they all hid under that, at that house. With all that said, you have statement of party opponent against defendant Stillwell, but the state feels that they're keeping abreast of the conspiracy, talking about how they evaded, police detection, at least for some time. When they're talking about, I think they use the term Miss V, they're talking about Detective Viverito, who also used to be a probation officer and is very familiar with the individuals at that home. And so what happened in terms of the search warrant, Your Honor, is the search warrant was executed March 17th. This was March 16th. But pending any questions from the court, that's why the state feels this is admissible.
So I'm going off of my understanding of the events, and I'm sure Mr. Atkins will correct me if he disagrees. I don't believe what was said earlier by another person on the state side was completely accurate. The police entered the house. They secured the location. They searched the house. I believe, and Mr. Atkins can correct me if I'm wrong, but my recollection is they did find firearms and they found ammunition. The reason I bring that up is because none of the firearms located at the house had anything to do with any crime scenes on this case. So when we're, the state's saying that that's my client, it's clear the context. There's statements, I think retrospective statements about guns. My client, to admit against my client, I concede would not have to be a statement by a co-conspirator. I believe that my argument regarding Mr. Stillwell's statements are a 403. He's talking about guns. He's talking about a lot of guns. All that is bad character, bad. It's prejudicial to us. And I don't believe that any of these firearms that are found in the house, I know none of the firearms that are found in the house have anything to do with any of the charged crimes in this indictment. So that's my argument on behalf of Mr. Stillwell, who doesn't really have a co-conspirator argument.
I think it's more an admission of a party opponent, but it is all retrospective, I believe. And therefore, insofar as it may be a co-conspirator's statement, it is akin to the classic spilling the beans. Man, this is what we did. They came in there. I was running out to the woods. That's all saying what happened. And what happened is the classic spilling the beans. So I don't believe that it would be admissible as a 801 D2E statement, would be my position. Be admissible against others, but not as to the conspiracy.
Potentially admissible against others, I think is what to say.
Your Honor, the classic argument always in furtherance of the conspiracy is always, defense counsel who's trying to keep out a statement is going to orient to spill the beans, and the state's going to argue it's in furtherance. And that is the crux of the matter always. The state, and this is in the state's filed response to Mr. Shart's motion for reconsideration on what Demekion Garlington told or Kenneth Copeland when we filed that a couple weeks ago. But the seminal case is Kemp v. State, which is 303 Georgia. I'm using my motion for quick hand to find the site, but 303 Georgia 385, which is 2018. Another important case is Chavers v. State, which is 304 Georgia 88. Oh, my apologies, Madam Court Reporter. Yes, Chavers, B State, 304 Georgia 887, which is a 2019 case that also cites Kemp. And a key part here, when you have, take aside the RICO count one, when you have a criminal street gang, the statements that keep other co-conspirators of the larger criminal street gang, not necessarily the individual murder or crime, keeping them abreast of even past activities, that, and also statements that foster cohesion, because when you listen to this call, right after they've been shot at, right after the police that they were not clearly, trying to evade were there, they are speaking about all of those events in kind of a cohesive unit, right? They shot at us. The police were trying to get us, and they're talking about what happened. So the case law within Kemp, Shavers, all of that is why in gang cases, the criminal street gang, and also the count one conspiracy, which kind of become part and parcel of the same in this case, because it's the YSL enterprise, as the state alleged. Those statements, even of past activities, do serve a purpose because they keep cohesiveness. It keeps an us versus a them, and keeping each other abreast of the criminal enterprise's activities, whether the person speaking or receiving that information individually participated in it. The criminal street gangs activities is something that the case law allows as 801D2E, as in furtherance. So I just wanted to highlight that for the court, because the state's argument is going to all, when appropriate in this circumstance, the state feels it is, it's going to be in the, under the prognosy, so to speak, of Kemp, Shavers, and I believe Hassan v. State, which is a March 19, 2024 Supreme Court of Georgia, also discusses this, but I wanted to confirm that, but that's a much more recent decision before citing it to the court. But that's the state's response, Your Honor, in terms
Okay,
of why
but
it's in furtherance.
can I please respond to that? We're talking about, the state starts by saying, oh, the defense always says it's not it's retrospective. Well, the state always says, they throw out these buzzwords, cohesiveness, kept them apprised of the events. So the buzzwords from the state are the same. They're accusing the defense of using, but it's the same buzzwords. It's the same thing every single time. And there are just as many cases out there that say retrospective prior conversations are not part of the co-conspirators exception to the hearsay rule. Stafford versus the state, 312 Georgia 811. State versus Lane, 308 Georgia 10. State versus Wilkins, 302 Georgia 156. There are cases after cases after cases that specifically say a retrospective statement that merely recounts what happened. And that's the whole tenor of this conversation, is not in furtherance of the conspiracy. So, buzzwords go both ways, baby. And I'm just as tired of hearing the cohesiveness and keeping people apprised. There are two ways that this goes.
All right. Thank you, counsel. I'm going to admit this as a statement by a party opponent as to Stillwell, and admit it additionally under the co-conspirator exception.
Your Honor, the next call we're going to go to is 512, which is, again, March 16th, but it's much later in the day. The last call was at 4:33 a.m. This call is at 6:49 p.m. Mr. Harvey, it's page 512.
Okay, I got it. I'm sorry.
Bruh. Bruh. Oh, D. Yeah. Man, that's what I'm looking at weed, man. Man, you told me you had it. I got it, man, bro. I got it. You do? And I got a few different flavors. You say you got a few different flavors, right? Flavors. Oh, okay. The same though? Yep. Okay. When I got down, it was just too much going on yesterday. Man, that shit was crazy here, man. 12 head nigga about 3-4 hours, man. For real? Sweat. Holy? Yeah. Yeah, now you know they shut up Big Nick spot. I was in there. We think. Oh, they shut up Big Nick spot, bro. Yeah, man. So we got down. We think them niggas gonna come back. We think they gonna come back through. 12 pulled up. God, careful, D. But them folks shut up Big Nick spot, bro. Man, yeah, I'm coming through the window. You know, I listen in the living room. It's crazy. Why nobody get hit? And you know what one bid was, bro. One day, one of y'all don't get hit, bro. But yeah, for sure. Yeah, what the fuck wrong with these niggas, bro? Man, when they little punk just died in Kendallville, about 2 nights ago. Boy, that's wild. I don't even think know that. Boy, he gonna be. You know, Clay had locked up. That's the only reason we seen his ass. Why ain't he know that? He locked up, bro. That's the only reason you ain't seen him, bro. Yeah, this shit was last night. If you talk to him on the phone, you know what I'm saying? They be like, shit got shut up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Bob. Yeah. Damn, he gonna be that. I ain't gonna lie, but that nigga, that's crazy, bro. Yeah, man. That's crazy, but your ass need to goddamn be smooth, bro. Man, yeah, bro. But too much going on, like this shit. Too much going on, man. Nigga, bro. Why the hell y'all ain't got no drop on these nigga, bro? Man, nigga high, bro. That's wild, bro. That's wild. I'm on the way to the spot. I just got down, whenever you pop out, bro, pull up on me, bro. All right.
So, Your Honor, they were Big Nick spot that they reference is what they refer to the Waters Road address as. And when they're discussing about those other people shot us, and the state's theory is they're talking about the rival gang. And they're, stating that it's crazy that no one got hit because there was a significant amount of shell casings at Waters Road. And then he states, one of their partners died a few nights ago, which the state believes they're talking about Shamel Drinks because this happens after that. And so the state feels that this conversation discussing all of those things, even if it's kind of thinly veiled, is again keeping abreast of the gangs, the criminal street gangs activities, and sheds light on how they are viewing what happened at Waters Road from their own mouth and mind.
All right, can I hear it again? And it really would help if y'all would give me your argument first, so I can know what to be listening for.
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor, before we start, the state said they. Does the state know or who's speaking to Mr. Garlington?
I do not currently know. I'm at this moment. If I do, I will share, but I don't know who Mr. Garlington's speaking with.
Okay. I think he just meant like that the talkers were talking about a we and a they.
Oh, no, I understand. I wasn't accusing him of anything. I was wondering if they knew because I don't know, and I think that's relevant.
Bruh. D. Yeah. Man, that's what I'm looking at weed, man. You told me you had it. I got it, man, bro. I
You do?
I got a few different flavors.
You say you got a few different flavors, right?
Flavors.
Oh, okay. The same though?
Yep.
Okay. When I got down, it was just too much going on yesterday. Man, that shit crazy here, man. Twitter had me about 3-4 hours, man.
For real? Sweat. Holy?
Yeah. Yeah, now you know they shut up Big Nick spot. I was in there. We think.
Oh, they shut up Big Nick spot, bro.
Man, yeah, man. So we got down. We think them niggas gonna come back. We think they gonna come back through. 12 pulled up.
God, be more careful, D. But them folks shut up Big Nick spot, bro.
Man, hey.
With Georgia Pathways, you may be eligible for free healthcare that gets you covered.
Man, when they little party did down in Kennerville, about 2 nights ago.
Boy, that's wild. I don't even think Gimp know that. Boy, he gonna be.
Yeah.
You know, Quay had locked up. That's the only
For
reason
real?
you seen his ass.
Why ain't he know that?
Hey, he locked up, bro. That's the only reason you ain't seen him, bro.
Yeah, this shit was last night. If you talk to him on the phone, don't, know what I'm saying? It's like, shit got shut up. I'm saying,
Yeah, Baba.
yeah.
Damn, he gonna be that. I ain't gonna lie, but that nigga gonna be fine. That's crazy, bro.
Yeah, man.
That's crazy, but your ass need to goddamn be smooth, bro.
Man, good, bro. But too much going on. Like, this shit. Too much going on, bro.
Hey, nigga, bro. How the hell y'all ain't got no drop on these nigga, bro?
Man, nigga hand, bro.
That's wild, bro. That's wild. Bro. I'm on the way to the spot, though, bro. Just got down, you know, whenever you pop out, bro, pull up on me, bro. All right.
Any further argument on this one?
I have some, Your Honor.
Okay.
We don't know who Mr. Garlington's talking to. Mr. Stilwell is not a part of this call, so this would have to be a statement in furtherance of a conspiracy. There's no apparent conspiracy, criminal conspiracy that's being discussed. It's a retrospective statement about them being shot or them being Garlington. And I don't think he names anyone else that was there, but Garlington is telling this other unknown individual that people shot at me at Big Nick's spot last night. That is a retrospective statement that falls under the line of cases that Ms. Harvey just cited. And there's also, of course, 11th Circuit cases that talk about spilling the beans as well. So I don't believe that there's any apparent conspiracy that is being discussed here. They're victims. And also anything that's said that's a retrospective statement is not in furtherance of the conspiracy.
Okay, well, I don't hear it as entirely retrospective. They're talking about whether they should be thinking people are coming back, whether they've got the drop on people. It sounds like that's still an ongoing conspiracy, so I'm going to permit it under that exception.
Your Honor, if I could be heard just briefly on the issue.
Yes.
I did, sorry.
Like,
I know.
look
Where's
at
this
all
coming
the-
from?
yes.
Judge, I did hear in the audio recording a name, Quay,
Yeah.
that was heard. And under 403, in an effort to not be misleading or confusing the jury as to, there are a number of people on the indictment that have names that are similar in nature. So we don't know what Quay or that they're referring to. And I would just ask for the court to provide at least somewhat of a 105 instruction that deals with or ferrets out who they are actually referring to. Because I don't believe, I know that they're not referring to Mr. Marquavius Huey.
Okay, and
So I would like to.
is the AKA, I don't know how to say it, I wasn't here for the beginning of this trial. Is that also Quay or is that Qua?
Well, from what
Or
I,
no, that's Mr. Nichols, Qua. Are there any Quays that are AKAs to any of the co-conspirators named on the indictment?
well,
No, but there are plenty of quays as opposed to quas that are mentioned in these wiretaps, none of whom are identified. This particular phone conversation has a quay is locked up,
Yeah.
and that, well, I didn't want to bring this up at this point.
Any idea who the Quay they are referencing in or belief as to who that is?
Your Honor, as I do not know who exactly they are speaking about. I can work on finding out, but I do not know.
Any
And-
idea
and
whether it's a member of this alleged gang or another alleged gang?
I do believe they're speaking about, well, I want to get clarity from exactly who they're speaking about before I speculate. So I will find that out, Your Honor. And the state's position as well is if the state, there is any number of things in a trial that can come up that, the state is not going to be, other than this wiretap played before the jury, the state is not going to be making any wild reference about who that, like this specific second clip where they say that is not going to be a huge theme of the state's
Yeah.
case. So I don't feel that, a limiting instruction is necessary, but I still will determine, at least within the gang experts and ABD, of who they believe and who the state's theory
Okay,
believes they're
well,
talking about.
and the reason,
Somebody can probably tell me the nickname or street name or whatever that Mr. Huey is alleged to go by. How is that pronounced?
in the indictment.
Right, that's what I'm talking about.
Initially, by the predecessor judge, he used qua, and then there was a correction or amendment to that reading, and he referenced quay. So Mr. Huey has been referenced in the indictment and has come out during this trial
In front of the jury?
in front of the jury. Do you know quay?
Okay.
So that's why it's important for our team to make sure that there's no misleading or confusion under 403 as it relates to who they're talking to in this particular
Okay. Well,
recording.
I mean, it sounded to me from the conversation that they were not talking about anybody that they were a compatriot of, but possibly somebody that might have been the opposition. But yeah, we can circle back on that.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay.
Your Honor, the next call we'll be going to is 6:35. This is on March 17th at 4:10 PM.
Give me just a second.
Yes, Your Honor. Oh, I might have skipped one, Your Honor. I actually believe the next one's 5:23.
That's what I was about to ask.
Thank you, Mr. Sharp, which is at 9, so it's roughly 3 hours after the call we just discussed. And
Okay.
yes, Your Honor.
So 513. What's the page number?
It is page number 523, reference number 513.
Okay. All right.
And Your Honor, the state's theory of what this call discusses is, for one, there's a mention of they flipped a car under the bridge by the Ville. The Ville, the state believes, is Mechanicsville. Shamel Drinks was murdered near a bridge in a vehicle. And so they're also discussing the funeral of the March 11th murder of Mr. Ford and Mr. McMiller.
Do we know who the other person is?
So the call or the phone number, which ends in 0484 for this call, I have associated with a Mr. Wright, who is a 30 deep member, according to APD Gang Detectives, with a nickname of WOT. So, Your Honor, we're going to play that call now.
I've been out, nigga.
What's up, man? I ain't seen you, boy.
Man, who the hell just asked me if I talked to you? I said, but I ain't talked that nigga ass. Somebody in jail, man. Oh yeah, I think.
I didn't talk to Frank. He asked me much.
Yeah, he called me after that little shit him last night. I called him. He shit went straight to voicemail.
Oh yeah, it was like I called the detail on there trying to check up on him, man.
Yeah, man, them folks hit. Them folks shot the spot, man. So
what spot?
He fucking free.
Last night?
Last night, well, you know, I wasn't even gonna come out. Man, he was like, goddamn, pull up. We were finna be on one. Goddamn.
So y'all was in there?
In there, boy, about 6, 7 deep. Tunk just had them pulled out, boy.
Damn, that's some food. I thought they already went over there and shot one upside.
They did, but still, man, that's on some everyday shit.
They double back.
Oh, you talking about
Oh, yes.
right?
Yeah.
Ain't nobody went next, right?
Oh, no, I heard it a couple days ago. Somebody, they said they went over there.
Oh.
That one ain't know.
No.
He said they just went over there last night.
Yeah, well, we down, man. I'm like, hey, man, boy, I wasn't even finna come over here, man.
Yeah, you talking about, yeah, I ain't even know nothing about this.
Yeah, look, we like to hear, we think, we like, all right, they gonna come back through. Man, we think they gonna come back through so we can hit that motherfucker up, man. 12 pull up, man. Hey, what?
It how?
Yeah, I'm like, yo, we hit them folk, like, cause we got our lights out. Them folk like, we gonna have to come in, we gonna have to come in, goddamn, make sure ain't nobody dead, man. Hit the back door like, hey, boy, I'm on parole, man. All this shit in here, man.
Hey, you talking about, like, y'all have to come in.
Yeah, no, we just heard them talk to the other officer, like, yeah, we can go in, make sure ain't nobody. Man, it be them up under the house. Goddamn, man, about 4 of us in the house. They keep saying, man, you don't go out. I'm like, man, I got me fucked up, man.
You took out right?
No, I hit the back door. Them folks it was on both sides. And I was just like, I seen them on one side, cause I was just gonna sit in the car, in the yard.
Yeah.
But I seen them looking at the cars over there, go through the other way. They know they was over there. I felt like, hey, come here. I'm like, hey, man, I just heard some gunshot. Yeah,
you
like,
say?
I just heard gunshot, man.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where you coming from, like the wood. I'm dry here. It pouring out rain. No for like, man, you ain't wet at all, man. I'm like, man, tell me, man. I was in the woods. I don't know how I ain't wet. I was in the woods. But I ain't no salvage.
Man, what?
Y'all check that house, found them guns. I went in there, boy.
Hell no, I ain't got nothing to do with
They
that
still
house.
went in there, though. They checked that. That was good, boy. And we say,
Oh, they ain't searched.
they'll make sure.
They just looked around.
Make sure nobody dead.
Yeah, so when nobody know when they went in?
Yeah. They found Loud, goddamn Lil Quay, and another name.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm like, hell.
What they at the house?
Yeah, I'm finna pop out for Colt on her. Colt on the track. They got a little video shoot.
Oh, they got a video shoot.
Yeah. I ain't really been outside, bro. I really not. Bro, you ain't got nobody who been trying to say you no pill. Boy, nigga, bro.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna get a pill tomorrow.
One guy just told me he get 120 tomorrow. Shit, that 1800. I told him give me all on. Then I gotta get some weed. But I ain't make no money in 5 days, boy.
Yeah, nigga gotta make something, yeah.
Well, now there been too much going on.
Too much going on, oh yeah, nigga gotta see what's going. They feel nigga get up on the bridge in the Ville.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah, I heard. Where the hell you at?
I'm right here in the Ville. I'm right here in the store.
You say you at the store?
In the little 2 store down here at the bottom.
Yeah. Where the hell you been at, man?
Shit, I've been around the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't really be popping out at nighttime, though.
The nighttime. Yeah,
Yeah,
everything been going on in the day, though.
Yeah.
It been dry here, boy.
Well, I know it, boy. Like, oh, God.
Yeah,
Like, we probably in that little studio and shit, though. Like, everybody be at the studio with. Other than that, like,
What they talking about, man? What they funeral and shit?
Man was gonna be private with bid gonna be public. They say man mama wouldn't let Thug pay for the film.
Oh yeah, they were like, they say his mama like, well, she don't even want him to come.
Yeah, they said she don't even want him to come.
Yeah, I already told them before, but folks' family gonna be talking crazy anyway. Like they gonna be like, we don't want no money, nothing. Like they gonna be tripping.
Yeah, you know how.
That's just how that shit be, yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, damn.
And why I know he just like, man, he just respect it. He just know how that shit is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never said what the hell you had going on. I just you know.
I'm pull up on you like tonight or tomorrow or something.
All right.
All right.
All right, so I can see the part about needing to get drugs and money to, drugs to sell coming in as a co-conspirator statement. The rest of it, you're gonna have to flesh out a little bit more how that is anything more than them just kind of talking about stuff that's already happened and a funeral that's gonna happen, but that isn't, a part of any kind of conspiracy.
Understood, Your Honor. And also, because this came up again on this call, one of the Quay that they mentioned very briefly, there is, I don't know definitively they're talking about this individual, but one of the individuals at Waters Road is Quaytez is his first name, last name Arnold. So they may potentially, in reference of who was at Waters Road with them, be referring to that individual just through context. But number two, a key part of this call that the state wanted to introduce was when in the state's reading of this call, when they laugh about, I heard that someone got flipped, they flipped a car under by the bridge in the Ville.
Yeah, I heard.
And then they kind of laugh in a way that's like an inside joke laughter. And Demikion Garlington is one of the individuals charged with Chanel Drink's murder. And so when they make that comment, that specific comment, to answer the court's question, I believe that them laughing and saying that, I don't know. I guess the truth of the matter of that would be that there was someone whose car was flipped in the Ville. I mean, the state believes they're talking about Chanel Drinks, but it's not saying that he's confessing to that, but it's the fact that they're laughing, saying that I think that the state believes is important in terms of when they make that comment, that reaction that they both have kind of instantaneously is an important contextual detail of how they discuss kind of light reference to something that's eerily similar to the murder of Chanel Drinks. And so that specific portion, the state believes has a non-hearsay purpose, which is really their laughter to that statement. The state does agree in terms of, I know we initially stated, or what we provided was the entire call, but so the state, what I will do, Your Honor, is to provide clarity for both defense counsel and the court, is I would like to, I can by tomorrow at least have the state's proposed time hacks of what we would play so that we can address it tomorrow efficiently.
Okay.
Because I don't want to, if the court permits.
Okay. I'll let you do that.
And does that include addressing the issue concerning that name, Lil Quay? Again, that gets us into that same issue. While the state says they have a theory on who they believe that person is, who is not Mr. Marquavius Huey, we again are left with this confusing, misleading information concerning Quay again. So I would ask the court to take that into consideration as well. We believe, again, we think that it's a confusion.
I mean,
misleading.
that reference was to Lil Quay and it wasn't to him, whoever Lil Quay is, doing anything wrong. So,
Well, again.
I mean,
agree.
if you want to come up with some instruction that, I mean, I can't give an instruction that says you may hear a reference to a Quay in this call. That's not Marquavius Huey, because I don't know whether it is or not. So, I mean, I can't give that instruction. I'm not sure quite what you want me to give. Hey, a lot of people go by Quay.
Well, I want you to help me out with 403 and how sometimes evidence should be left out if it's confusing and misleading to the extent that it
Well,
causes a jury that has.
It may be that that part of this is not in the more narrow. So let's talk about that
Thank you, Judge.
whenever we come back to that.
Thank you.
All right. Remind me.
Yes, Your Honor.
We're reserving argument.
Yeah, we're just gonna, no point arguing if
Right.
it ends up being two little things that,
Okay, thank you.
yeah, we'll just come back to this one. Sure, but let's find out what they are first. And give me a second. I mean, you can be queuing it up, but I've got to write myself notes so I know why we're coming back. to
Yes,
stuff.
Your Honor.
Okay, ready.
Yes, Your Honor. So the next call is going to be 635, PDF page 635, reference number 624.
All right. So what's going to be like the significance
Yes, Your
of
Honor.
this, and why do y'all think this comes in?
So, Your Honor, this is Demekion Garlington speaking to the caller about the search warrant on Waters Road, and says that Miss V is on them, in the state's theory referencing Detective Viverito.
Okay.
He calls the individual on this call Unc, like UNC. I don't exactly, the state does not know who definitively he's talking with as Unc. I would like to reserve this one because to know with this, the topic of this discussion, it's more important than in other situations where someone's like asking for a gun or trying to get drugs, of this individual's relationship with the street gang.
Okay,
If I could add this to one to discuss tomorrow.
sure. So we can come back to this one. as
Yes,
well.
Your Honor.
Okay.
513, we're coming back to in 624, or it's 523,
523 and
635.
635, yeah.
And Your Honor, on a similar vein, this is the only other one I see coming up recently. 820, which is PDF page 820, reference number 806. It's the same number, same individual.
So come back to that one.
Yes, Your
too?
Honor. Yes, Your
Okay.
Honor. So, Your Honor, the next call is 1079. Excuse me. Is that right? Okay. Yeah. This call's on March 21st, 2022.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to add this before you listen. I just want the court to know that my client, Mr. Stillwell and Mr. Nichols, had been arrested by this time.
All right. Thank you.
And so, Your Honor, in the states, what the state highlighted in this call, just before we play it, is they say that SHIT just came in, and Unfunk, who is defendant Williams' brother, has already pled out on this indictment, just called and told me to pull up. The state believes that they're talking about some type of contraband drugs when they say that it just came in and told him to pull up. The reason the state, I don't definitively know, it's not like I have a eyes on Garlington and he goes and picks up a bag of drugs, but it's in the context of other wiretap calls where Garlington is primarily selling Percocets. And so that's why the state wanted to highlight this, because it speaks somewhat in code and also references another co-conspirator when he says the shit just came in, Unfunk just called and told me to pull up, which is like in reference to going to get it from another co-conspirator,
Okay.
at least in the state's theory.
Okay.
And Your Honor, this is a very brief portion. We're going to start at 26 seconds and end at 31 seconds.
Yep. They called, so boom, I said,
For the record, we're starting at 23 seconds, Your Honor.
man, what is that? Boom, I said, shit, they came in. One for that called, so he go, so he pull up that now. He get 9 times.
Any argument on this one?
Yes.
Okay.
Once again, too long on guesses and too short on facts. It's just an assumption. It's the fact-free world of conjecture.
Their argument is a reasonable inference that could be made by a jury from this evidence. That's all that's really required. So how about an evidentiary objection? Any of those?
Relevance 401.
Relevant to their argument that part of what the enterprise engaged in was illegal drug sales. So overruled.
Your Honor, the next call is PDF page 1124, reference number 1109. This is on March 21st. The key part of this call, and the state's intending to play 17 seconds to 19 seconds, is the individual says, "I'm trying to get the weed, answer your FaceTime," which again goes to the state's theory of before and after or during criminal activity, they utilize FaceTimes so that what is discussed can't be recorded and phone logs or phone references are not tracked.
Yo.
For the record, Your Honor, we're starting at 14 seconds.
What's it? Yeah. Okay. Con, what you doing? I'm trying to get the weed. What is it? D? Yeah. All right, so I'm calling you. Matter of fact, I'm see your FaceTime. I'm right here at the spot. I'm see your FaceTime. 1, 2. All right.
And Your Honor, we ended up playing it till 29 seconds. I think that was a typo. It was meant to be 17
Okay.
seconds to 29 seconds.
Any argument? Any objection?
Same thing. Again, it's speculation. I'm trying to get some weed. That could be to smoke a doobie over a steak that night.
Could be.
Um,
Nonetheless, eventually speaking, it is admissible under the co-conspirator exception.
Well, and remember now, Mr. Stillwell and Mr. Nichols are incarcerated. So if somebody else is out there trying to do something on their own, it may not be admissible against Mr. Stillwell. and
I'm
Mr.
just
Nichols.
not buying the concept that just because somebody is in jail, they're no longer a part of an ongoing conspiracy. I mean, in an ideal world, that might be true. But there's, and that'll, y'all have to, if you want to make that argument or present evidence that it all stops, then
Well, it presumptively stops them upon arrest. I've heard no argument to you or any proffered facts that either one of these gentlemen continued to be involved in the drug conspiracy on the outside after their arrest. The presumption is the arrest stops it.
well, I mean, I guess at least as to Mr. Stillwell, I might need to revisit the whole thing about drugs found in his cell.
Your Honor, I was just about to say, because the Harvey rule is in effect,
You're opting out of that
I
one?
am opting out of Mr. Harvey's argument, and I'm opting out of the Harvey rule.
That would be smart of you for this particular argument. So, I mean, he might have something as to Mr. Nichols with regard to this, unless y'all got something that would suggest that it's on, this is something that Mr. Nichols continued to be involved with, because I do think the law is kind of that arrest kind of is a pause on certain things, so.
Your Honor, what we will research for the court is because this, for example, the call we just played was on March 21st of 2022. Certainly both charge counts and overt acts in this indictment in the conspiracy occur after that, as recent, at least in the indictment, as May 9th, 2022, where the search was at the home of defendant Williams with drugs and firearms. With all that said, also you have incidents that happened in both Fulton County Jail and three-way calls from individuals in prison. So it's the state's theory.
Do any of those involve Mr. Nichols?
Well, it's the state's contention that because of the RICO conspiracy they do, because he hasn't avowed himself or disavowed the conspiracy in this specific conspiracy as alleged by the state, and believes the evidence will come in, shows that this conspiracy operates quite easily and effectively within both prison and jail, as in the attempted murder of Mr. Rayshawn Bennett, as in some of these happened since the case has been in trial. So the state, we will find research on this specific issue, because I am aware of what the court's referencing in terms of if you had a drug conspiracy case and one individual, not a RICO, not a gang count, but just two individuals in a drug conspiracy, there's some case law about if one of them went to prison or jail, was confined, you couldn't hold their separate one unless they were somehow communicating. I think the RICO and street gang changes that calculus, but I'll find case law to back that up, Your Honor.
Thank you.
The next call that we will be going to is PDF page 1155 and reference number 1140. This is a March 21st, 2022 call. The state, this is not confirmed, but the gang experts believe that this is Unfunk, Mr. Greer, who was referenced, but it's not confirmed. But what is said and why the state wanted to play this is everything's dying down. So, and then it has a couple expletives. It basically says these people think that they're up. We're supposed to get out of town for a little. I'm telling you, man. And it's the state's belief that in the world of criminal street gangs being up, there's references, not specifically on this wiretap or in this call, but from APD gang detectives about like, it's like a scoreboard, or so being up on someone is like we have more murders or more violent acts on you. So we have the dominance over you. And so that's why the state wants to play this when it says everything's dying down after there's been murders of YSL members. They've been shooting up Waters Road. And then it says we're supposed to get out of town. That's why the state wanted to play this part.
Okay.
And 14 seconds through 46 seconds is the portion the state tends to play. We'll probably start at the beginning just to give some context, Your Honor.
One thing to it. Yeah, that shit, FaceTime shit was tripping. I said, let me know. I'm gonna pull up. Oh yeah, nigga, you already know, man. We just gotta move, everything dying down. So now these fuck niggas think they yeah. That's how we're going on. Everything dying down. Yeah. You know how they go. That's why we goddamn went out of town for a little minute, bro. Let that shit die down. No, these niggas they wanted me to pay for the shit. They nobody want to put in their money to pay, bro. For real. Everybody hesitate to put in to pay for the fucking Airbnb. I'm like,
That's the part of the state.
Okay. Yeah, I already went about this one.
There's no doubt that Mr. Garlington is a talker, but not everything he says furthers the conspiracy. And this is just two people being chatty. And it's just idle chatter and not in furtherance of any aspect of this conspiracy.
All right, I'm gonna admit that under the co-conspirator exception, appears that they're still contemplating future moves as a group. What's our next one?
Our next one is reference number 1163, PDF page number 1181. And the part that the state wants to introduce is Garlington is speaking with DeMarco Boyer, whose nickname is Little Co. And so he says, I'm fixing to have Co pull up and give him that stick.
Okay.
And so the state wanted to just highlight the exchange of firearms and reference to firearms in their own. So the state will play it. We're playing the entire call. I believe it's quite short.
Where you at? I'm finna have Cody pull up, give him that the stick.
All right.
All right.
All right.
When I have this Excel spreadsheet on my computer, I think I read the one above. That's what Deputy Hilton was. Who he was speaking with is a female, but he's talking about Mr. Boyer, as in he's telling this female he's going to have Mr. Boyer get his stick.
All right. That seems to be covered under co-conspirator exception. Are there other objections besides that? I mean,
Again, Mr. Nichols is incarcerated, telling somebody else is going to pull up with a stick. I don't see how that is in the course of
All
it.
right, well, we're waiting on that law.
Okay.
Thank
So
you.
just reserve my objection, please.
Thank you.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I mean, I'll email it to the court and everyone, but it's, I think, United States versus Harding, Harding. It's 2024 United States Appeal, Lexus 14995. It was decided June 20th of this year. It's in Division 3A as in Elisa. And it does say what Mr. Harvey said. Generally, a co-conspirator participation in a conspiracy ends with his arrest.
Oh, yeah, no, I know that's the general rule. What I'm looking for law on is what are the exceptions? When is that not the case? So, yeah, no, I thank you. That maybe wasn't clear about that. I'm looking for what I just said. Okay.
So, Your Honor, the next call is reference number 1205, PDF page 1224. And this is Garlington talking with Mr. Wright, whose street name is WOT, where Mr. Garlington and Mr. Watt, like you've heard reference about 30 deep, it comes up with Mr. Copeland. And so they were 30 deep. Mr. Garlington was 30 deep and then became YSL, but that is who he's speaking with. And the state is going to be playing 904 to 1032.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Okay. He got a lawyer, right?
They say, bro, gonna get out of boy money. Say he gonna get Brian and the other nigga, he gonna get out of her, like.
Man, the shot with clothes got locked up for it.
Nah, they who the one they said they looking for. I just talked to him the other day. About 2 days, yesterday, 2 days ago.
I said the shot on low, like, oh hell no.
Hell yeah, boy, he keep calling. Hey, D, bro. What the hell going on? I'm like, shit, but I don't know.
Damn. He calling me like what's going on?
Man, he calling everybody.
He just drunk.
Yeah, hell yeah. What they did that?
Yeah, I knew it.
But you know how that shit, you brother need to go have to ride. Nigga know you gonna get through it, but I just know a nigga like, well, nigga ain't did nothing, bro.
That little shot can ride, OD?
Man,
I mean, you don't really never know. They don't have no choice. They be saying you don't have no choice. Like,
yeah.
you see what I'm saying? In real life, like, you ain't got no choice. You gotta go however long these folks ride until they let you go.
Yeah. I said, them boys gonna be good, but wow, you put my name in that shit.
Oh, hell.
And Your Honor, we're going to back up just a little bit. We just started a couple seconds before when the context for this portion to start. And for the record, we're going to start at 8 minutes and 35 seconds.
To the house tomorrow.
Oh.
She came by herself.
Oh, okay. So she had came.
Yeah, I had my phone on. I wanted to see the news and shit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, what?
You still been talking to that little hoe?
Who?
Who you with all that JJ first?
When?
I said, AB, you still been talking to that little hoe? Who you with?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. He got a lawyer, right?
They say, bro, gonna get out of boy money. Say he gonna get Brian And the other nigga, he gonna get out of it, like,
Man, the shot with the clothes got locked up for it.
nah, they who the one they said they looking for. I just talked to him the other day. About yesterday, 2 days ago.
That's the shot on the low, like, oh, hell no.
Hell yeah, boy, he keep calling. Hey, D, bro. What the hell going on? I'm like, shit, but I don't know.
Damn. He called me
Yeah.
like, what's going on?
Man, he calling everybody.
He just drunk.
Yeah, hell yeah. What they did that?
Yeah, I knew it. I knew it.
But you know how that shit, these brothers need to gonna have to ride. Nigga know you gonna get through it, but I just know nigga like, well, nigga ain't did nothing, bro.
That little Jonathan ride, OD?
Man,
I mean, you don't really never know. If you don't have no choice, that'd be the thing. You don't have no choice. Like,
yeah.
you see what I'm saying? In real life, like, you ain't got no choice. You gotta go however long these folks ride you till they let you go.
Yeah. I said them boys gonna be good, but wow. I'm gonna put my name in that shit.
Oh, hell no. I'm dead.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's the portion, Your Honor. It's the state's theory that when he says bro is going to give all the boys money, he is referring to defendant Williams. That's a common theme that the state has put forth argument on to the court. That's why the state wanted to include this in terms of when criminal street gang activity occurs, trying to further the conspiracy through that. That's a common argument the court's heard about the relevancy of that, Your Honor.
All right, what about the rest of it?
So, Your Honor, they when they mention little Shorty got locked up for the clothes, Miles Farley, who was charged with, he's one of the individuals charged with Chanel Drink's murder. He had a clothing line like Keep America Slime. And so that when they say, this comes up a couple times in the wiretap, and it's going to come up kind of frequently because you're going to hear later about YFN and some Goodfellas, which is another street gang members, attacked Miles Farley when he was in the Fulton County Jail. But people reference him in terms of little Shorty who sells the clothes. And so it shows familiarity with, and he was not on this date of March 22nd. I do not believe he was not arrested yet. And so that was the portions that the state, and then they say he's just going to have to ride, don't put my name in this. And at the time, of course, Mr. Garlington is not arrested either for this. And so we're going to get in a couple calls where he gets nervous when he hears about stuff on the news or the warrant out, because when he's making these calls, he's obviously not incarcerated.
So, in regards to the second part of that call, it is Mr. Garlington giving his retrospective version of events and talking about what Mr. Farley is feeling to, apparently the state believes this is Mr. Wright. I don't know how this kind of, again, idle chatter about what Mr. Farley is going through and everything else, while the state might believe that's relevant, it still has to fall under a hearsay exception. And this sort of chatter is not furthering the conspiracy. And so, I mean, I see the state's argument about relevance, but again, they need that hook to fit through a hearsay exception.
Is there some other meaning to when he says he's just gonna have to ride? Y'all have a theory as to what that means? I'm so sorry. Are we just gonna have to ride a theory as to what they mean by that?
So the state's theory in this context is essentially he's going to have to ride it out. Like when Farley he didn't have any criminal history to my knowledge before this happened. And so what ends up happening is when he goes to Fulton County Jail and some of these calls that come up, they try to get protection for him. And so they're basically like, he needs to ride it out, not tell on anyone, not, panic and just stay the course. That's what I believe that they're talking about.
All right.
That's the state's theory.
Okay. I mean, I would think, and I thought that might be what the theory was, but I mean, that sounds like them still sort of, here's our plan for how we're going to handle this as we, the enterprise, go through it.
Well, the way I hear it, Your Honor, respectfully, is that Garlington may opine like that's what Mr. Farley needs to do, but there's no directive or plan to convey that to Mr. Farley, as far as I can see in this call. So, I mean, even if it does mean he needs to ride it out, I mean, that anyone can say, oh, someone else just needs to be patient. You need to write it out. You need to let the criminal justice system run its course. But the state, I think, is making a huge jump from that to, oh, he needs to be quiet. And
Well, right after that, he says, don't put my name in that.
well, and that's to me,
So, I mean,
that's Mr. Garlington.
this may not be that every indicted and unindicted member of the co-conspirator is on, a Zoom call saying, all right, here's how we're going to do this. But everybody doesn't have to know every little thing everybody's doing under the law. So I'm going to admit this under that exception.
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
I believe I heard a reference to what I think is my name, and I would ask the court to exclude that.
Yes. Can y'all redact that out, please? Yes.
And of course, we'll do as the court instructs. We do have a point at which we believe later on in trial that we would be presenting evidence, and we would ask the court's permission, bring it up to the court as Judge Glanville had instructed us to do so. There will be a point where we believe it will become necessary to bring up the fact that there has been representation of multiple persons, or an attempt to provide representation for multiple persons in YSL. By Mr. Steele, he is correct that we were instructed not to bring up his name before we brought the issue before the court so that the court hears it. The court may or may not be aware that prior to trial actually starting with this jury, we had a hearing on whether or not Mr. Steele should not be qualified to represent a party in this case. The judge determined that there was not a conflict, but also noted that the case may be that the state has the right to present that evidence, but before we do, we have to bring it to the court's attention and litigate that issue.
All right. Well, at this point, y'all haven't done that yet, so excise his name.
Yes.
And when do you expect to get to that point?
Because this is, I believe, the second reference that we've had, there will be multiple times. We didn't want to bring it in, like piecemeal here, piecemeal there. So it would be later on, like at the latter part of the trial, around the time that we present the Drinks murder, that we would be bringing up Mr. Steele's representation. If the court permit, we're going to bring it to the court's attention.
Okay. So I don't know. Obviously, we'll need some more non-jury days at some point besides what we've had this week to sort out other issues that we know are on the horizon. But for right now, let's just take his name out.
Yes, Your Honor.
And let's leave his name out of that, no matter what my ultimate ruling is on why it might ultimately be relevant. All right?
Yes.
Okay. Why don't we stop and take a restroom break? Be back at 3. That gives everybody about 12 minutes.
Yes, Your Honor. The following after that is reference number 1739, PDF page 1762, which is a March 28th, 2022 call. And on that call, Your Honor, is Little Co. Mr. Boyer, who asked Demekion Garlington that he needs to come get the blick, and he told Garlington to take it home with him. And then Garlington replies that he has his fire at the house, but he just didn't bring it with him. And then they asked for an address. Again, that's what the portion of this wiretap call the state wants to play to show, one, how they reference firearms, and two, how firearms get exchanged between members. Quaterius Zachary, which the court has heard about when we went through his interview, and other evidence will come out. He gets arrested with a firearm that ballistically gets connected with the shooting of 1007 Hill Street, which was the mother of Mr. Bennett's mother's home. It's common, but the state doesn't actually believe or have evidence of that Mr. Zachary himself was part of that. So it shows that firearms get switched, exchanged, passed between both YSL gang members and sometimes other or allied street gangs. And so again, that's why the state wants to play this. It's a brief portion.
Okay, and it's to show how they reference the guns, like the terms they use to reference the guns, flick and fire, and that they exchange them amongst each other and allied people. Do I need to listen to that, or?
The state does not believe you have to, Your Honor,
Okay.
unless you want to.
I don't want to unless I have to, because I think it goes a lot more quickly if we don't have to cue it up, listen. If I need to, I will.
Well, before I argue about the admissibility, it says the entire call. So is the state representing that is the subject matter of the entire call, or they're going to limit the excerpt to that discussion?
That is correct, Mr. Sharp. And I don't believe it's a very long call. It's 2 minutes, 52 seconds. I will get more clarity, but it's where you need to come over and get this blick. I'm geeked up at the studio. I told you to take the blick back. And then they mentioned running into someone, and I don't have that blick on him. I got the fire at the house, and they talk about send me the address. So I'll find when that time is, but that's the statements that we're referencing.
Okay, well.
I can just listen to it. I'll just listen to it.
Yes, Your Honor.
And then we'll find out.
Yo.
Hello?
Yeah. Twin.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
What happened?
Bro, you need to come over and get me blick, bro.
I'm back. Where the hell you at?
Shout out, geek. I'm at the same one you just studio you just left, man. That shit got below me, bro. Your ass, I told you take the blick on with you, bro. It don't matter, bro.
Yeah, you right.
Yeah, you go for then you got to go to him, bro. Like, come on, bro. Rubbing the niggas, you ain't having no profit. Oh, that's man. That shit about to blow me, man. I don't like this shit.
It wasn't even that. It was like the shit. I'm like, man, shit, I went club. I ain't gonna run nobody out here. That's on the TV, but they ran that nigga.
D-boy, nigga got down. Nigga got down. He way out. That one nigga, anytime nigga ain't got that blick on him, twin, that one some shit got down been in the house, man.
Yeah.
Way like that, bro. No blick, bro. You can go get that blick, but you can take that blick home, bro. You can take when you stay home, son, bro.
Nah, I got to fight the house. I just told you I ain't bring it that, but like, you got to send me the address.
Come to it. Just go get it. Look here, I'm finna pull in right now. You know I gotta have one of these niggas drop the pin.
Yeah.
But I'm pulling up right now.
So like on the GPS, what to type in?
Type in look here, see they come to a little head house. Cause it is after little head house. You feel me? I'm
Yeah.
literally 2 minutes away from the studio right now. As soon as I get there, I can drop in.
All right, well, I'm gonna have her go get my car.
Type in the cave. Yeah, type in down the cave, gone. I don't even know that shit still on
So the
the
whole
prime
thing.
time. That shit gone too. Type.
Your Honor, this wasn't this. There's a call that was shared in the initial Dropbox co-conspirator link. It's 1760, which is 2 minutes before this call. That should have been on this XL because it's directly related to why he's talking about getting the firearm.
Okay.
And so that call, I would like to play 1760, and the state also would like to introduce that call. And to give a little context with this is from consulting with APD gang detectives who investigated this in real time. Mr. Garlington coincidentally goes to a hotel in Cobb County, and there's a rival gang member whose street name is Little Blizzy, who, after the murder of Mr. McMiller and Mr. Ford, there's a whole lot of, I don't know the way to put it, just vile, disrespectful social media posts about, like, there's a picture of individuals X'd out next to their child, and say now they don't have a father. Things of that nature that escalates significantly the animosity and the violence. And so Little Blizzy, that murder was never solved, but he is in the far end of the spectrum of sending out very disrespectful social media posts after that double homicide. And so the significance, and we'll play this call right now, of Mr. Garlington running into him. He didn't have a firearm on him, and so he just randomly runs into him in a hotel. And so this call we just played when he's talking about coming to get the gun is basically, they're like, you need to keep that gun on you because there's a lot going on. So I wanted to play and apologize for not having this on here. That was just an error. The 1760, which is at 1:56 a.m. The call we just played was at 1:58 a.m.
Okay.
So I'm going to play PDF page 1760, reference number 1736.
Thank you.
Where the hell you at?
Hey, so crazy. So crazy. I was just in the car, and tell you, I just ran to the nigga, bro.
For real?
How you know? That what you calling me back?
Nah. Hell, not at all.
Oh, I thought nigga said something else, man.
What he said?
Nah, not him. The nigga, the Blizzard.
What he say?
Shit, he seen me turn his head.
For real?
On DV, yeah, he seen that. I tried to look at him, but he turned this shit.
What he seeing at?
Man, we at the same hotel.
Right now?
Right now.
Damn, be safe for that, man.
I know it, but I ain't got my.
The nigga say the for real, J. Carl say he finna shoot a video. He want us in the video.
What about the studio?
Yeah, I'm finna meet them back up here, but he need to come back outside. But at least let me give you a gun or something.
Which one? My side.
The one we were just at.
What was it?
Hold on, they call now.
So that is 1760, Your Honor. The state, well, if the court would like to hear 1762, which is, but
That's what we just heard, right?
we heard 1760, which I think gives a lot more clarity to.
Before that.
Yeah. Yes, Your Honor. So the state feels that both of those are in furtherance of the conspiracy because Demekion Garlington, a YSL street gang member, is calling and notifying people about who he ran into, a rival gang member, and trying to, and he actually makes multiple calls that we're not going to play all of these, where he's trying to get, and he references this interaction in the hotel.
So, Your Honor, Mr. Garlington has a long criminal history. I don't know when the state feels that Mr. Garlington met Mr. Stillwell, but Mr. Garlington was allegedly, or he pled guilty to committing crimes before Mr. Stillwell knew him, before Mr. Williams knew him, and he has plenty ability to commit crimes without being associated with anyone here. And at some point, we're just, again, I understand that being arrested doesn't absolutely close you off from a conspiracy. I think it's fair to say there is a presumption. I know, but I understand it's not absolute. I understand it's not that simple. But at some point, we are in a situation where we have two gentlemen in jail, and Mr. Garlington going about his criminal life. And that is, whether he's associated with other people or not, or whether the state is alleging that he's associated with other people, everything that Mr. Garlington chooses to do and every crime that he chooses to commit in his day-to-day life is not involve my client, does not involve Mr. Nichols. And the state is, at this point, trying to bring in Mr. Garlington's chatter about picking up guns and selling drugs and all these things that Mr. Garlington's been doing for years, and somehow impute them on two gentlemen that are in jail. And that's my concern. I understand that it's not an absolute that my client is no longer part of a conspiracy, but the state is theorizing, but there has to be a difference between Mr. Garlington's everyday criminality and criminality that is specific to an alleged association with YSL. And that's my concern, is at this point, we're just throwing in his everyday criminality, and it's making my client, who is associated with him through social media and other things, and that's just a fact that I'm going to have to deal with. But at some point, it's creating character issues and prejudicing the defense of my client.
Your Honor, if the state may.
Yeah, who's the other person that,
So,
who the other person is?
yes, it is DeMarco Boyer,
Oh, right, you said that, okay.
who is affiliated with an allied gang, PDE. And so with that said, also in reference, when defendant Stillwell is arrested, there's a contraband phone. He's still speaking with Demekion Garland. And the state indicted and believes that both Demekion Garland and Shannon Stillwell, 11 days before this, murdered Shamel Drinks, a YFN member. And this little Blizzy is, again, someone in that same rival gang. So Demekion Garlington trying to get a firearm to take out a rival opposition is in furtherance of the criminal conspiracy that the state alleges defendant Stillwell is still a part of, and all the defendants are, before, during, and after this March 28th call when it's made. So it's not just Mr. Garlington on his own. It's in furtherance of that criminal street gang, which has to retaliate for a double homicide that they are blatantly, disrespecting on social media. And that, in the world of criminal street gangs, cannot be tolerated and has to be handled with more violence. And so that's why the state's theory that this is in direct furtherance of the criminal conspiracy, because if Garlington got a firearm and shot or murdered little Blizzy, that would be in furtherance of the criminal street gang. So him trying to get that firearm is helping move that needle forward in terms of the conspiracy.
Understood. These two both appear to meet the 801D2E exception. What's our next statement?
Our next statement is 1759. or sorry, reference number 1759, PDF page 1782, which is March 28th, 2022. I think Mr. Harvey likes the reference numbers. The state likes the PDF page numbers, so I'll give both.
Well, thanks, because the court likes the reference numbers too.
Then that's the state's preference is the reference numbers, Your Honor. So we're going to play, I think it's only 57 seconds of the call.
57 seconds of it, but I don't know where they're starting yet. I don't think they've said that yet.
Yeah, the total call is 57 seconds, Your Honor. And Mr. Garlington is calling. I want to make sure I read. So the state believes the voice sounds like Unfong Quantavious Greer. Not 100% confirmed, but that's who the state believes he's talking with. And so the state, and what is said is Garlington is told that a YFN member wants to talk to him, and the other party tells Garlington to call them when they are all around. So this is in the context of, you know, there's a lot of back and forth, and there's also, so long story short, it's how they're referencing and speaking about a rival gang, YFN, the state wants to highlight, and we'll play that now.
Okay.
Yo, what's up, nigga? What the hell? Right here, shit, downtown. What up, for 77, I want to watch it and come somebody want to talk to you. They want to talk to me? Yeah, you know the one who I told you about that while I used to be before, though. Yeah. Yeah, to my man, tell him to call me, bro. Tell him to call me, bro. He not like that, bro. Tell I just want to talk, bro. Good shit like that, like shit, bro. I heard later message, bro. This shit back now. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah, I just later message to you. Type shit. Yeah. So you call him, we all around, so we, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's what I'm doing. I'm calling we all around. So I'm outside. I'll let you call me, brother. All right.
And so, Your Honor, the state doesn't have, I don't know exactly what this YFN member wants to speak with, but the fact that this is being set up and kind of having like a mediator to talk between them is relevant to show, because this constantly through this trial from 2015 to now, the jury is hearing and the state is explaining, you know, shootings, murders between these two groups. And so the fact that he needs to get a mediator to speak with someone from that establishes there is an us and a them. And so whether he actually had this call or not, what exactly they want to talk about, it kind of has a non-hearsay purpose in terms of the fact that he's setting this up this way. He can't just call this person one-on-one or go meet them. That's the main purpose of it, or why the state wants to introduce it, Your Honor.
It seems that now that's, sorry, not being offered in such a way that it would even be hearsay. So it's admitted, I mean, alternatively, it could be a co-conspirator statement, but it does not appear to be hearsay to begin with. All right, what's next?
Next, Your Honor, is reference number 1767, PDF page 1789, which is a March 28, 2022 call. The state believes that the other individual on the phone he goes by the nickname of Dad and is a 30 deep gang member. And what is discussed is Garlington tells, his name is Mr. Britty, tells Mr. Britty that he stayed in Cobb the night before because he ran into an op and didn't have anything on him. So it kind of gives context to wanting to get the blick. He specifically calls little Blizzy an op in this call. And again, it explains and gives clarity to how Garlington views Little Blizzy. And the state will hear when Detective Viverito is discussing this part of the case about this inflammatory social media that Little Blizzy posted, how YSL members viewed him, and why Garlington running into him is significant. Because if there's an us, there's and a them, that is a key part of this. So the state will play this call now. It's 1 minute and 10 seconds, Your Honor. So the
Okay.
state will play it in entirety.
Hello,
Eddie,
what's going on, bro?
what the hell going?
Pulling up in the hood?
I'm up in the hood.
Hell yeah.
And
Where you gotta
I
go?
go to. Oh shit, man. We just woke up.
You said you gotta go what today? You about to say you gotta go somewhere.
No, man, I got down to the hotel in car last night, right?
Yeah.
I run to a op.
No.
I ain't got nothing on me. 'Cause I'm like, shit, but I'm finna go out here. I know I ain't right out here.
Yeah.
Heavy.
Go to the gym, like.
Yeah, buddy seen me and turned the head. You know,
He seen you and turned the head.
yeah. He don't even know he got me down bad.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, man. What they even do?
Yeah. Right here with Keelan Mooch.
I'm probably
Stopped it at 1 minute and 5 seconds. There's only 5 seconds left, but it was that portion about Garlington speaking about what I just described, John, that the state wants to, is why the state wants to introduce it.
All right, that seems to fall essentially under the same things we've been talking about. I'll admit that as under the co-conspirator exception.
Your Honor, the next call is reference number.
Excuse me, Judge.
Yes, sir.
And I'm sorry.
No, not at all.
I want to ask the court that if I can have a continuing objection to these phone calls that reference something out in the world when Mr. Nichols is incarcerated. And again, I understand that we've kind of reserved that issue, but I don't want to go on to the next one without saying, hey, I've still got this objection out there.
Sure. And I mean, he doesn't get out again, right? I mean, he's
Okay.
not, so.
Unless you're going to let him out for, I'll take him to dinner tonight.
Okay, so, I understand that it's, that it covers all of these from the time he's
Thank you.
in until, I mean, who knows how many we're gonna have till now, I guess, if they come up with some other call, but, all right.
So, Your Honor, this next call, reference number 1869,
Mhm.
PDF page 1893.
Okay.
This is Demekion Garlington speaking with DeMarco Boyer.
Okay.
I actually think that this call, the strongest reason for its admissibility is a non-hearsay purpose, because they're discussing, we got to take Buddy's name off that. Because if that individual, they're talking about a song where someone's name's in it, and they literally say, if he gets whacked, you know that stuff's going to come down on us. I don't need nobody trying to put a RICO on me. And then references putting their names in the song. And so a big thing of this, not the thing, but a aspect of this case from opening until present day, is the state using social media, using lyrics, using just statements of co-conspirators. And, the state and defense have different theories of what those things mean. But the fact that they're conscious of what they say and put in a song in direct relation to something that can happen in the real world or in the streets, so to speak, is very relevant, because the state's theory is that there is kind of a double entendre, or it's kind of like a line of how far can you push it in terms of street gang members know what you're talking about, but the police can't use it against you. And so with all that said, I wanted to play this part for really a non-hearsay purpose, whether they put that, I don't actually have the said song, but like whether they released that song or didn't put his name in, is the fact that they're consciously, and by discussing that and thinking through that, is important and is the state's mind's a non-hearsay purpose.
Yo. Hey. Yeah. I'm trying to shoot that red. Hey. It's a good day. Hey. But I ain't gonna lie, we got to talk. We got to take better name out of that shit though. We got to. Bro. You know, if bro fuck around and get wet, you know that shit come down on us. Yeah. Type shit. Then they already. The nigga young Bruce so hot on the east side right now too. They like, I don't know if they trying to build a case against niggas or what. Like, you feel me right now. But they hot as fuck. Like, they jumping out, just laying nigga down about the nigga. That's why they was so hot up and down the script the other day, got on Glenwood the other day. That's why they been around nigga fast. So they last couple 2 days. So it's like, oh, I ain't need nobody trying to build no Rico on me. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's like,
able to get a quote on yeah, like the estimate.
so it's also shit like, I'm just not thinking, Lil Head was even saying the same thing. He was like, shit, but I was gonna tell y'all nigga this shit, bro. That y'all probably need to say bro name, bro, cause his ass finna be gone. And even if y'all drop the song now, he get gone, gonna look like somebody had something to do with it. We drop the song later. I mean, you know what I mean? Yeah, you damn sure right. We just gonna take the nigga name like this shit. We just gonna take, I ain't even scared, shit still fuck with nigga, you feel me? Just some smart shit, cause I don't think them niggas will want to put a song out there without that. Well, at least we just switch it up. You feel me? Mm-hmm. Even if we say that, like, we don't be niggas for D, get a shell, say something different. Like, you feel me? Shell got there, Shell don't want that or some shit. You know, I don't give a fuck. We say the same thing. I don't give a fuck about saying name. But I don't want you, you know what I mean? Tie shit in. Yeah, they do it, didn't. Tell them all. I don't think you're get up and shit.
And Your Honor, you heard they're talking when they say the line has something to do with Shell, and it's the state that they're talking about Shell Kell, who comes up repeatedly in this case, and is someone that YSL has been trying. You know, there's violence from January of 2015 until this call was made March 29th, 2022, and so Shell Kell's name comes up repeatedly throughout. And some of the social media I'd referenced about disrespect when individuals get murdered, Shell Kell's social media posts are a part of that will come up in Shamel Drinks. So that's why the state wanted to play this portion, is really for the non-hearsay purpose that they are thinking through, you know, they discuss the lyrics and how it can impact literally the police, because they're like, if he gets killed, it's going to come back on us. They're going to look at us. So we need to take his name out. So that's why the state wanted to introduce that.
Okay. Anything from the defense on this?
Well, if I am not mistaken, it's being offered for as non-hearsay. And if it's offered as non-hearsay, it's not offered for the truth of the matter asserted, and therefore there needs to be an instruction saying you can't consider this conversation for the truth of the matter asserted.
So I am a little puzzled as to that issue.
And Your Honor, I guess I started with there's really two arguments, as sometimes there is, in terms of if they put this individual, you know, it's also a co-conspirator statement in terms of they're strategically trying to make sure that they don't get in trouble for releasing a song when they're trying to kill this individual. So the fact that they're like, he's like, you need to probably take his name out, that does move the ball forward in terms of the conspiracy, because the conspiracy does not want to get caught. Because if it does, it can't continue as well. And so there's that aspect of this as well, in terms of they're strategizing about, like, it's a good line, but it's too, you know, when he gets murdered, or if he gets murdered, it's going to create a police involvement with us. And he's trying to get him to not release the public song with his name in it, with the purpose to further the conspiracy by not getting caught. So there is you know, it's not an either or. Sometimes there can be multiple purposes or theories, and I think that's appropriate with this specific call.
Okay.
I think they're saying, let's not commit a crime. I mean,
I think they're saying, let's not provide easy evidence to inculpate ourselves. I'm gonna admit that under the co-conspirator exception. There's no crime in releasing a song, as y'all have all argued. What's our next statement?
Your Honor, the next statement is reference number 1974, PDF page 1999. And this call from March 30th. There's reference, so again, this call references Blizzy, who I've discussed with the court earlier. And it also references there's a reference to a street name of Haiti, which is a YFN member, Mr. Higgins, that is also connected with the killing of Mr. McMillan and Mr. Ford. And so we're going to play this entire call. And on this call, Garlington also references, he says SB, talking about defendant Stillwell's cousin, who's a female, was followed by a black Durango. There is, the murder of Mr. McMillan, Mr. Ford is not solved, but the black Durango, there's reference into it in a couple wiretaps because they believe that that vehicle was involved and is associated with the rival gang. And also Garlington tells the other party, again, he's mentioning running into little Blizzy. He didn't have the fire on him. And then he gives the address of where he was staying that night.
Yeah, then Corey called saying like, she trying to follow her, yo. You said what? Corey, maybe because she said I tried to follow her. Nah, hell nah. She saying like a nigga trying to follow her. She said a black car, but black truck. So I think she was trying to say the black. The black Durango. And she like the nails and shit like that. I like, seriously, like at the door, it was outside. The police like, is that for you? But she like, nah, she wasn't paying attention. So she get in the car. I mean, when she walked to the car, nigga, like he tried to hit her. So yeah, she get in the car. Like the nigga put in front of her because she had the bag up. She say the motherfucker followed her from the door. Like she ran to a roadblock. She was back on the back street in Riverdale. She ran to a roadblock. They did a U-turn. Damn, that's a fool right there. That might be Buddy though. Buddy used to try to be on her DM talking about, I'm gonna find out where you stay at and shit. Yeah. Like he tried to talk to her. It might be Buddy. Then they say, yeah, Durango. Hey, I don't know. Hey, you know who I just ran into, bro? In car, bro. I told that shit the other day, bro. Who? Man, I ain't had no foul on him. I just ran into the nigga Little Blizzard, bro. Oh, somebody just got it. Let me go and see the other night. Bro. Yeah, where he was in? No, I don't know. I was in boat checking in the hotel. Like I was going upstairs with the hoe. He was checking in. I see the boy that's on DV, bro. That nigga turned his head so fast, bro. Damn, you think he still been playing out there? Yeah, I don't know. Damn. What hotel it was? We was somewhere in Cobb, bro. I gotta get the name of that shit. He told to the clerk like he know it. Like, man, damn, man, come on, fuck with me. Ain't Bay Money now? Nah, he ain't Bay Money. That mother called, man, I don't, this some over, man. What street is on? Oh, I had to, that motherfucker was, I got the address right here. That shit was called $33.80 Overton Park Drive, Southwest. What is that? Overton Park. Overton Park, Southwest. Hold up. Southeast. The backside. I'm trying to put it in now. 33. Yeah, wait, another paper. When you gonna go play right there, they be meeting up at 3380. The one that called the police on y'all last time, 3380. So you said 33 what? Hold on, 33 80. Yeah. Overton Park Drive. OVERTON West Drive. I say OV Park Drive. Overton Park Drive. Yeah, southeast 11. Yeah, right on the back side of Cumberland. I mean, Cumberland, Engine Park. Yeah. We'll make that left. We'll make the other left come back now. Yeah, we got him. He might be playing right there because you know he just got spent. Him and Hayden like two more little other niggas got spent there and ran on something. For real? Yeah, I didn't even know that. Yeah. We ain't trying to play that. Yeah. It got to go.
So Your Honor, the black Durango was associated with the shooting at Waters Road on March 16th. I misspoke when saying the Ford McMiller double homicide. So, Deputy Hill, actually, it's connected with both the murder of Mr. McMiller and Mr. Ford and the Waters Road shooting. So I wanted to clarify that. And also, Your Honor, there's a reference of getting the address where an op was the night before we got him. And so this discusses past events of running into a rival gang member at the hotel, but also references, be on the lookout for this black Durango, and also has references for future conspiracy activities of getting addresses of opposition gang members. The state does not know exactly who Mr. Garlington is speaking with, but a conspiracy can be furthered because Garlington gaining this information and discussing this still furthers the criminal street gang conspiracy. But I wanted to give all that information to the court.
All right, thank you. Any?
Borrow Mr. Harvey's term about nested hearsay. From my understanding, this call, and I'm going by the state's notes as well, this call has Garlington relaying what SB's cousin, that would be my client's cousin, said to him about being followed. That would be hearsay within hearsay. So I'd ask that anything involving what was said by
in the initial, and I'll find the date, kind of general co-conspirator brief. And
I'm not sure if I follow what you're trying to say right now.
I was distinguishing when Mr. Sharp was objecting to double
Yeah.
hearsay or nested hearsay.
Yes.
And I wanted to find the specific. So if the state gives me, not the state, Your Honor, if the court gives me a brief moment, I actually brought this motion with me and can't currently find it, but it's directly on point to this issue.
All right.
Well, there's a difference between personal knowledge and nested hearsay. So let's not go down the wrong track.
We can go down both, Mr. Harvey.
All right.
And find the right answer.
Let's stay focused on the issues at hand and not back and forth with each other.
Me and Mr. Harvey get along well, Your Honor. see. Well, Your Honor, while we find that, for the sake of efficiency, can we?
So,
I guess-
let me ask you this, which might make it not necessary. Are you offering that hearsay that's within this statement for its truth?
The
The part about the, I guess, girl saying that a Durango followed her,
it's the fact that
or that Mr. Stillwell's cousin says that whomever said that a Durango followed them.
Your Honor, it is for them discussing the black Durango, because the state doesn't have any additional evidence that like that black Durango on this day and time was outside about to shoot someone. So it's the fact that they're discussing the vehicle that's connected with the murder and the Waters Road shooting, the fact that he's discussing in opposition terms Little Blizzy, and the fact that they are discussing whether they actually got the address and found the opposition member or not. The fact that they are discussing that is relevant in and of itself. And the state doesn't have, so the state is not intending to say, aha, 5 hours later, they went to someone's house and shot them. So it's the fact that they're discussing all of these things, which is really a non-hearsay purpose.
Okay, well,
To answer the court's question, Your Honor.
not sure to answer the question, but what I take from that is that your answer would be no, we're not offering the nested part to establish that somebody actually followed her in a black Durango. Is that true?
Yeah, correct. We are
Okay,
not.
in which case that is not hearsay. And the rest of it comes in under the co-conspirator exception.
Well, whether the state's intent is to do that or not, it asserts a fact that is harmful for my client if believed. And I don't know how the jury is necessarily supposed to compartmentalize, oh, well, this is not being offered for the truth of the matter asserted. It seems to me that it would be, if it's not offered to prove that, I mean, this is important evidence if believed against my client, because it suggests that my client is responsible for Shamal drinks, and therefore other people are now following my client's family members. So it's not just a little deal in my mind.
Okay.
And so it seems to me that even if the argument is we're not offering it for the truth of the matter asserted, it would fail a 403 test, because what does it matter really that my clients, for the purpose that they're claiming, that they're discussing the goings-ons of the quote-unquote opposition, what does it really matter other than to just make reference to my client? What does it really matter that my client's cousin is the one that said it? If we want to redact my client's SB's cousin from that, that's fine. I don't have a
All
problem.
right, why don't we just do that? It'll make the whole thing easier.
Judge, the importance of that part is that whether there was actually a black Durango following anybody or not, there was their belief that they were. There was this belief that was shared among them. The reason that this is a co-conspirator statement is that they are participating in the enterprise by apprising one another of things that could harm them.
Yeah, the appraisal part's not the issue. Do you lose any of that by taking out the two? I mean, if they even say SB's cousin.
We could listen to that part again to ensure that we are accurately asserting what is being said. But our belief is that the fact that something they believe is endangering one of their members' families is something that is causing them to act. Yes. So that is the reason that we believe that remains inside that statement, because by making one another aware of a potential danger, whether it exists or not.
Family member of one of their co-conspirators.
Yes.
I mean, honestly, I don't see how. I think it's a bit of a it's not that it's a stretch, it's that you'd have to pile like, you know, one building block on another to get to, if some bad guy out there is following a cousin of your client, that must mean your client has committed some crime against a member of that group. I mean, yes, it could be, you know, put together that way, but it's hardly like, oh, A equals B, therefore C.
Well,
It just isn't.
This conversation occurs days after a murder occurred that my client is charged with.
I understand.
And I think the state knows exactly why they want to get it in, and that's why they want to keep the reference to my client's cousin saying it. It's they want the truth of the matter asserted to be brought in front of the jury, and it's if their interest is just that they're aware, then there's no reason that they're aware that people are following, and there's no reason to include SB's cousin. They could just put it in. They could just put Quay or whatever. Quay said this, and they don't lose anything.
Okay, so what they lose is then they're just saying, hey, some random person is getting followed by a Durango.
Right.
And that's what they don't want to lose.
In the context of the conversation, no, I don't think it's just some random person. It's obviously someone they're associated with and concerned about because they're talking about it. So it's not just some random person.
All right, I can listen to it again, which I don't need to do here. I will just circle back and listen to this one again.
And Your Honor, I'd also point out that Mr. Shard is making a 403 argument.
Yeah.
And given that there's nothing about this belief on their part that is substantially more prejudicial than probative of the fact that they believe that this Durango is following a member or a family member of one of their group, and that belief is being shared, and in order that they do something, that they act accordingly. They're participating in the enterprise by.
Yeah, that's not his argument. His argument is that because the Durango is following a relative of Mr. Stillwell, that must mean that Mr. Stillwell committed the crime against their group a few days before, which is what I'm saying is a whole lot of building blocks having to be stacked on top of each other. But I will take another listen.
And it's not that it must mean that, it's that it's evidence of that.
And I mean, if it is, you know, it is. I mean, that's why the state puts up one case, and if the defense chooses, they put up another case, and in between there, they cross-examine all of the state's witnesses so that all of the different theories can get presented before the jury that all the sides want presented, and they can sort out what they believe to be the facts and apply those facts to the law.
But I'm not going to be.
Good morning. We just changed our Southwest flight to stay an extra day. Didn't have to pay a fee.
Beautiful. Our kids won't miss us. They're with Mima.
Mima.
We're in love again.
Change your flight without a fee. That's a big flex.
Kind of like how they're trying to decipher how Farley is handling getting arrested on this serious charge of murder. But there's a lot discussed, but we would like to play it. But it mentions a number of different relevant circumstances to include defendant Stilwell tells Garland that it's ugly and he needs him. He also states, and they discuss, Garlington tells defendant Stilwell that Dolly said Thug's not talking to anybody. And Garlington says it should be funny. He should be funny and post free Wyeth and Lucci, because at the same time, Mr. Bennett is also in the Fulton County Jail. And so also defendant Stilwell tells Garlington that the gunpowder test will come back clean, so he isn't tripping, which the state believes is in reference to the vehicles utilized in the murder of Shamel Drinks. So the state's going to play this call from the beginning to the end.
What's up, bro?
What's up?
Yeah, B.
Say what?
Yeah, B.
What's up, man?
What the hell going?
Man, shit, right here, listen to that new boy.
Huh?
I said, right here, listen to that new young boy. What you got going? Can I?
Yeah, you know, I can't hit you on that other phone. Shit, bro. I'm on that motherfucker.
For real? Are you on? Oh, this another one?
No, it's
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. I know. I ain't just like FaceTime. How to say? That's what you like. I tell him I ain't got it.
I really can't respond, so I just like, yeah. I can't, man. That motherfucker, I don't fuck tripping on that motherfucker.
For real, man.
Yeah. I said one shit. I said shit. I'm gonna go straight to the grandma house. I had stay out that motherfucker.
Yeah. But she told me they had to move your style.
Yeah.
Running like what on know it inside?
Nah, I'm with Fred.
You with Fred?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And they do the Fred.
They do. Yeah, they. Damn. Somebody said it. T-Rock was up there with you or something?
Yeah, T-Rock was downstairs with me.
Yeah, cause somebody asked me in the hood. They're like, bro down there with T-Rock. I ain't know T-Rock locked up.
Yeah. What the hell was going on? Everything. What the hell? What's up with Trump, man? What the hell he talk crazy like that?
What is that?
Just talk crazy, man. All that little shit there.
You talking crazy about Mal?
Nah, it's about me talking about Mal and shit.
Bro, I ain't on TV. I ain't heard of that.
Yeah, it's a lot of little shit I told, boy.
Yeah.
Had me blow.
They blow?
Had me blow.
Oh, yeah. I ain't talked to him, but the only person that be talking to is Mal.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he be asking like what's going on. I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. What the hell?
Like, in order, damn, bro. Like,
everything is smooth though.
Yeah, I know it. I already know that.
They just got down. They on Mal though.
Yeah.
Cause I don't know why the fuck he even get out the car.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I'm telling folks. I'm like, shit, what the hell they locked up for? Like, they just saying about the jump. I'm like, bro, they good. I'm just like, they gonna assume some shit like that anyway. They gonna assume that, like, y'all ain't did, ain't killed him, so.
That's what I keep telling Lil. I keep telling him, like, shit, chill. Like, I know,
Cause they saying
nothing. Yeah, I'm like, this ain't nothing, bro. Like, they just doing that cut. They seem as it got gas. It's like, just chill. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hell yeah, man. That's what I'm telling. I keep telling them all the time. I'm like, listen, bro. Just like you, like, bro. I'm telling if I was in the cab, listen, bro. No, just tell them before you want to talk, bro. Like,
man, listen, bro. I told Baba, I'm like, hey, tell buddy, do the same thing I did when I went in there. I told him, for, hey, I want to see my lawyer. I'm lawyer. I'm going to say nothing else to me. So he got to do the same shit. Don't say not one word.
Yeah.
Go down what they try to portray or what they say, man. Don't say shit.
Yeah. I ain't know that though. I didn't. Tell them how. But they tell them, they're like, hey, bro. But like, hip hop just called. They're like, you heard? And I'm like, yeah, nah. I'm like, shit, I know. I'm like, I keep in contact through know what I'm saying? They folk. I ain't turning on the phone. I'm like, he'll understand that anyway though.
Yeah, I ain't doing that anyway.
Yeah, I already know you ain't. I already know it. Yeah.
Hey, ugly though, boy, I need you.
I know. I already know. Thank God, I know that. I told her like I told her 1,000. She said 800.
I told her like tell him I need 1,000, but anything in between, just got down.
Oh no, yeah. She ain't doing that, but bro, you know I got.
Yeah.
I know, like, but I talked to one house today, and she told me, y'all just like be patient, cause she hadn't had I talked to her. She DM me.
White.
Yeah. She like, man, just tell them like, man, no, we ain't gonna leave them folk like that. And I like, just tell them just be patient. It was a day, good morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, man, just tell them to be patient, bro. Bro, I got it.
Well, I already know that part. I just like. I know like how that go. You know what I'm saying? I ain't really tripping on that. I ain't tripping. Like I've been just trying to keep Buddy calm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, do that, bro. Yeah, bro.
I don't really be liking that coaching shit. That shit be having me all out. Like,
yeah, I talk the phone. Like, I been on bro. Like, he had in FaceTime. Like, oh, what's up with Quay? Like, what the hell? I don't know if Quay on the phone saying something. Like, I don't know if he on shit. Like, he told real, like, man, tell Buddy got there and get his lawyer, bro. We did that shit for him. He paid, you know what I'm saying?
What?
Yeah, that was phone told me. He like, bro, tell him, chill out, man.
Nah, I ain't know nothing about that.
Yeah, then we out downstairs. He was like, yeah, they was on the cell phone. But I ain't even say nothing. So I'm like, I know I ain't even upstairs. I'm like, ain't even got access to no phone.
Hell nah, he wasn't nothing like that. I don't think he said no shit like that though.
Yeah. And then I thought what Skylar was telling somebody, what the hell is she saying? Foreign farming.
Who?
She told him they something about foreign farming.
Okay.
Yeah. She really kind of telling me to be careful out with the corn out. And they with the little thing. I ran into the boy little place by myself.
Yeah?
Yeah, I ran into him. Yeah. I ran into him by myself. Like, that's on TV showing the boy see and turn their head.
Yeah.
But like, yeah. But like, we was on live and coding nobody be on my page and shit. So I don't know who told shot a video chat like, bro, when I ain't run. I say, nigga, you ain't run. You damn sure touch your head, man, though.
Huh?
I say, no, I ain't say you ran. You damn sure touch your head when you see me, though. Like,
Yeah.
I ain't knowing what's wrong. I'm like, listen, bro, you know what's going on. Like, before all this shit, like, shadow was straight.
Yeah.
I'm like, shit, but you know what's going on. Like, he like, bro, ain't no problem with you, bro, with everybody. I'm like, listen, bro, you know how this shit is, bro. You know how this shit go. Like, I'm like, yo, I can speak to you and everything. I'm like, shit, that ain't going on no more, bro. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, that's on DD. I'm like, man, I had a corn right now. I told corn to be quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now they just made a video about an hour ago on Please at the stove with sticks and shit. Like, yeah, all in hot hood. I'm like, yeah, Chris saying.
Man, they on some, man. Oh, I be saying stay away from that. That's police shit.
Yeah, man.
That's twelve shit. I ain't with that.
Yeah. Damn, man.
It's all good. Everything.
I know it. So you still ain't got no light right now? Like they won't take no payment?
They ain't really saying, but ain't really saying that. You just really like, just chill, be patient. Like same thing. White tell you.
Yeah. Okay. They ain't been around like they say they ain't talking to nobody. Like they say they like, bro, I ain't never seen that nigga hurt like that, but that nigga hurt behind that shit.
I think they said the one he really fucked with.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah, man. Everyone want to talk your ass too, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Nigga,
Who?
be funny and quit free wife and loose. Yeah. Right.
They had them tell me that shit. I'm like, man, help 12 in here.
Man, what? Phone said they call him. Phone be slam on him. They say he working the police in the game shit. Like they say, like he got police. Like he probably don't know, but like they folk, like they watching his ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they funding his ass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they said they were gonna do it. We got 12 pulled them over or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I don't trip though. Something, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what he on.
Yeah.
I'll tell him boy about this shit. I was like, man, he be like, you ain't gotta tell me. I already know. Like, I don't be got trip.
Yeah.
Like on the other one, like people like, man, I stand on more. Man, I fought with, but on the other, I think about that on some female shit.
Man, man. Yeah, I ain't on DB. I ain't heard nothing about that though.
Yeah.
I ain't even talk. Only time we talked to him, I talked to him like the same night y'all got locked up.
You gotta add when you call boy, you gotta add boy what he say, cause I can't really say like, cause she won't really just tell me like in detail, but she just beating around the book. I really be telling her, man, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
On that one night, cause I ain't going for that strand.
Yeah. But you know I got you, bro. I had to go long. Trying to got down. I just had to take care of got down. I know I got you though, bro. You gotta got down the whole time, bro. I know how that shit is. Like I'm knowing like nigga need this shit. Like I ain't got you, bro. I'm here with you, man.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to get.
I ain't gonna, like, I ain't gonna ask a word, but like, cause like, I don't even have to say your name. Like, she know who I be talking about. I don't be talking about nobody else, but I ain't gonna hit you on that motherfucker, like, ever. You know what I'm saying? But, everything really good, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm like, I heard that shit. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, that shit was fast as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all it is. Just assume.
Yeah, I already know. Like when they got down, go to wiping down, doing them got them. You know, they gunpowder for rings, all that shit there.
Yeah.
You gonna come back clean. You see what I'm saying? So I ain't tripping on that. Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, man. What the hell, swimming on? You still in yo?
Yeah. Okay, what is that?
You know what's what?
LT.
Who? Yo, folk.
Yeah. I was like, what is yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah, he got out of town now. So he's gonna get ready to come back. I was gonna lie with the guy.
Yeah. You ain't talked all night. That whole night crazy, bro.
Yeah, I said talk to her today. I talked to her today.
Man, that'd be crazy.
I was telling her, I'm like, he on the shit phone, like, he probably be over there, like, what not? She like, what? You only think you gonna tell on me? I'm like, man, hell nah.
She can't. I don't even text my ass back no more.
But she be texting on, like, on tab and shit?
Yeah, I don't even be responding to her. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I'm finna get bro back his phone, right? I'm gonna get up with you though.
I do that, man. I got you.
Love you. All right.
I love you too.
Your Honor, the call is complete. So I don't know if defense has any objections to this call. I think the court understands the state's position of this. We've labeled it as a co-conspirator statement in furtherance.
Your Honor. Carlton Matthews again on behalf of Mr. Marquavius Huey. So there was a reference in this call again to a quay. And our position, as we stated earlier, is that it's a 403 issue that we're making at this time as we did previously. We believe that this is a confusion, creates a confusion of the issues with this, the use of the name quay constantly. The jury has heard the name quay in this trial up to this point. They have heard it. We did file a motion for severance at a previous date. It was denied. I'd like to renew our request for a severance on this issue for the record. And on the basis, again, it's a 403 issue with respect to this word name quay being repeatedly used. I think I've heard it like 3 times at least in these series of calls. So on that basis, Your Honor, we believe that a 403, and if the court is unwilling to grant the severance under the 403, confusion of issues, confusion of evidence, I would ask this court to, again, reserve the issue to allow us to craft an appropriate 105 instruction that will address this issue.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Is there any response right now from the state?
Your Honor, Detective Viverito will clear up, I think, quite clearly that this is in reference to Defendant Nichols, not Defendant Huey, because when they're referencing, they're upset that on a phone call, Mr. Nichols says we did this for Big Bro, talking about the state's theory, Defendant Williams, in terms about we did it, the murder of Shamel Drinks, who was, I've already described kind of the back and forth, but the testimony and the state's theory, so there won't be any argument at closing, and Detective Viverito, who is going to be introducing these wiretap calls, she will make crystal clear who that quay is referenced on the call. So there won't be any confusion.
Okay, well, that'll cure any potential confusion. So I'll make sure that she does that. All right.
Am I correct in my belief that the state intends to introduce this whole call?
Sounds like it.
Okay. So my immediate concern is around 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Mr. Garlington is talking at this point, not my client. I talked to Funk. I've been with bruh, and he had me on FaceTime like, yo, what's up with Quay? And then Quay on the phone saying something like, I don't know if he on this SHIT, like he told Rel, like, tell buddy, god dang, get a lawyer, bruh. We did that SHIT for him. He paid, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so we got Garlington having talked to Unfunk, who is Mr. Greer, who supposedly, and I'm trying to put it together, it's not completely clear, but he talks to someone named Rel, and then somehow this comes back to Quay, who, I think that the state is asserting is Mr. Nichols. So we have like a game of telephone with 4 different steps leading to Garlington then saying this to my client. And then it should be noted, my client does not tacitly acknowledge, or I think we've been using tacit admission. He says that doesn't sound right. So it's not that. He pushes back, and it's just nested hearsay times 4 in what Mr. Garlington's saying. So I have a real problem with that, because obviously that is someone who is not testifying to my knowledge, the originator of this, and it's passed around a few times, and it goes directly to my client's innocence or guilt. And it's, this little bit in itself strongly suggests that my client is guilty, because the implication is Quay said we did this for Buddy. I'm not concerned about the for buddy part. I'm more concerned about the we did this part. So that's a major flag right there. And it's nested hearsay. It's 403, any probative value that could come from this, other than its value as hearsay with 4 steps, is negligible. Clearly, they could get out the facts that they're talking about attorneys without going into that segment right there that is extremely prejudicial to my client. So that's my first objection. I would also object that these other conversations about attorneys just generally are not furthering any conspiracy, but those don't. There's an extra level of concern regarding the time around 5:30.
All right, well, I think we've discussed the issue of attorneys potentially being provided by leaders already, and my ruling would be the same with regard to that. What is the state's response to the issue of it being hearsay inside of hearsay, the we did this part?
So, Your Honor, that this is a classic co-conspirator statement. This is one co-conspirator providing reassurance to, providing direction to, and promoting cohesiveness with another co-conspirator in furtherance of the conspiracy itself, which is YSL, the criminal street gang.
Right, but back up into this isn't just him, this is somebody else saying that, right? And
yeah,
Mr. Shard at least is saying that Mr. Stillwell pushes back on the assertion. And this was a lot, so I might have to hear it again, but
Yes, Your Honor.
if that's accurate, then that seems like that couldn't be, oh yeah, this is an adoptive admission.
So, Your Honor, a couple things. One, defendant Stillwell was quite upset that Mr. Nichols made that. So the fact that Garlington and defendant Stillwell are discussing that, they need to know what's said on jail calls. They need to know who's talking to the police. They need to know who may fold, and they need to keep tabs on both members in jail and outside. So when they referenced earlier about Mr. Farley and how is he doing, and he needs to, so
Yeah, that's not the part that they're raising, that Mr. Shart's raising an issue about right now.
you're specifically discussing, Your Honor. So defendant Nichols saying we killed him for bro, and Mr. Shard saying cannot come in this conversation with his client, Mr. Garlington, when they're discussing the intimate details of the murder that they did for bro. The state feels that, and this is why, and I will find the case on this, their conversation, Garlington and Shannon Stillwell, in all its contents, whether they knew this personally, they knew this from like that statement, their conversation is fostering cohesion amongst them because they both agree he shouldn't be saying that on the phone. And that's where co-conspirator 801D2E is a little bit unique, where this nested hearsay, if it's deemed a statement in furtherance of the conspiracy, keeping abreast of the crime, future, past and or future activities, fostering cohesion among street gang members, that type of analysis is incorrect. If you deem that statement and them discussing what one of the other co-defendants did in the murder that the state indicted both defendant Stillwell and Mr. Nichols with, and Mr. Garlington with, I think it is classic co-conspirator hearsay, which takes aside Mr. Shard's objection. The nested hearsay is not an appropriate analysis if you deem that statement, which the state believes it is co-conspirator statement. That's the state's position on this nested double
I
hearsay.
really need to see your
Yeah.
case law.
Yes, Your Honor.
I think that's just an incorrect statement. of the law.
I would be surprised that it just makes what would otherwise be a valid evidentiary objection disappear. Maybe it does.
And so if it's hearsay, and I'd have to, like the court, I have to hear that little part again. But if they're saying that it's hearsay, that Mr. Nichols' statement about what they did is hearsay, and Mr. Stillwell is on the call,
Right.
right?
Yeah, this is Garlington and Stillwell.
Right. And when he says that his client pushes back, he's not saying we didn't kill him.
No, I don't know, but
That's
let's
what-
hear it again. There was a lot to unpack with this. Maybe it would have been better to take this in sections.
He
but-
says that doesn't sound right. And to push back, you don't need to repeat everything that was said and said, no, that's wrong, no, that's wrong, no, that's wrong.
Well, I mean, it could have been in reference to whatever the arrangements were for an attorney. I don't know exactly where that came.
But let's start with the proposition that it's Garlington and Shannon. Garlington is talking about talking to Funk, who had him on FaceTime. And that's what Mr. Nichols allegedly told Rel, which was repeated by Funk to Garlington. So, I mean, we're talking about layers upon layers. And this is the classic nested hearsay. You can't just say if one statement, the first conversation comes in, everything else in the world comes in. It doesn't.
Well, I don't think it does, but the state seems to think that there's law that says it does. So we're going to let them find that. And
So can we play it for the
And if you just want to point me to wherever the original motion is or response is, I can read it on my own. But I mean, if that's easier than you trying to find it right now.
Your Honor, I'm trying to find both the date and the motion itself.
Them just be patient. Give it a date. Good morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, just tell them to be patient, bro. Work out.
Well, I already know that part. I just like, I know like how that go. You know what I'm saying? I ain't really tripping on that. I ain't tripping. Like, I've been just trying to keep Buddy calm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, do that. Okay. Yeah, bro.
I don't really be liking that coaching and shit. That shit had me all out. Like,
I talk the phone. Like, I been on bro. Like, he at the FaceTime. Like, oh, what's up with Quay? Like, what the hell? I don't know, Quay on the phone saying something. Like, I don't know if he on shit. Like, he told real, like, man, tell Buddy got and get his lawyer, bro. We did that shit for him. He paid, you know what I'm saying?
What?
Yeah, that was phone told me. He like, bro, tell him, chill out, man.
Nah, I ain't know that about that.
Yeah, then we out downstairs. He was like, yeah, they was on the cell phone. They ain't even say nothing. I'm like, I know they ain't even upstairs.
Can you play just maybe the last 30 seconds again?
Yeah, bro. Like, I don't know if he on shit. Like, he told real, like, man, tell Buddy got and get his lawyer, bro. We did that shit for him. He paid, you know what I'm saying?
What?
Yeah, that was phone call.
You want to keep going?
He like, bro, tell him, chill out, man.
Nah, I ain't know that about that.
Yeah, then we out downstairs. He was like, yeah, they was on the cell phone. They ain't even say nothing. I'm like, I know they ain't even upstairs. I'm like, ain't even got access to no phone.
Hell nah, he wasn't that like that. I don't think he said no shit like that though.
Yeah. But then I thought what that was telling somebody, what the hell is he saying? Farming.
Okay, thank you.
So, Your Honor, our position is that what he is pushing back against, and it's the context of that statement that is the most important, because they're trying to relay to keep someone calm, and that they were talking to Enfant, who was a is a co-defendant who pled guilty in this case, and they are alarmed at the fact that another member is potentially on a jail call saying that we did that for bruh. And that's the point at which Shannon is pushing back, saying like, what?
Right.
Like, I can't believe that. And then he's like, nah, you know, he didn't do that. And the other guy says, you know, I don't know, he could have been on a cell phone or what, but that's what I heard him say. So his alarm isn't at, he's lying on me. His alarm is that, and this is what we would argue, of course, anyone can make their own arguments at trial, but we believe that this is what the evidence shows, that the alarm is at the fact that this person on a jail phone is saying something highly incriminating to them and sharing this information between them all. And the alarm in itself is evidence of the fact that this whole conversation is in furtherance of that conspiracy, which is the enterprise that is YSL and the criminal street gang activity of YSL. So none of it is hearsay when all of it is statements of a co-conspirator. It is their reaction to their
It's
belief.
still hearsay, even if it's a statement of a co-conspirator. So I mean, at some point y'all are saying, this isn't hearsay because we're not offering it for the truth. So I know that's not what you meant, but let's try to keep the terminology clear.
You're right. You're very, very right.
And I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just want to make clear, like, you know, we
You're
got
right. That's
we have got
important.
to all be clear about what we are saying and what we mean by what we're saying.
Your Honor is absolutely right.
All right.
And so that is, we are saying that there is an exception.
Right.
And that this is the exception that it falls under.
Okay. All right. And so again, I understand that the conversation between Stillwell and Garlington might come in under a co-conspirator exception to hearsay. The thing that is at issue is the relaying of Nichols allegedly having said, you know, whatever he said, you need to line up a lawyer or whatever, you need to pay for it because we did this for Buddy.
Right.
And the concern is that either that part is being offered for its truth, or even if it's not, that certainly once the jury hears that, they take that as evidence that it is true.
Understood. So I
So
hear it more clearly.
do I understand you to be arguing that that part of that is also co-conspirator exception, or no?
I need to address that part of it. So one moment, Your Honor.
Sure. Do I have the argument correct that y'all are propounding?
Well, yes. And if, while they're gathering this, Mr. Atkins is listening, I hope. So can I respond? If we break this down, here's what the sentences were. Garlington says, I talked to Funk. I've been with bruh. I don't know who that is. And he, I don't know whether that refers to Funk or bruh. And he had me on FaceTime. That could refer to either one of those people. What's up with Quay? That's the next question. Next statement. Why the hell? I don't know. Quay on the phone saying something like, I don't know if he, and again, we got a he on shit. I don't know who the he is referring to. He told Rel, that's another person, that's another layer.
Well, that's somebody who's listening. That's not somebody who's talking. So anyway, and also, can I get this portion of what you've written down as a transcript? Because it would be most helpful.
I can give you what we have, yes.
Okay, great.
But I'm breaking it down because now we're on a third person. He told, I don't know.
Okay, but that's a listener, so keep going.
Okay, he told Rel, and I don't know who Rel is, and I don't know whether Rel told Funk, and I don't know whether Rel told Bruh.
right.
I don't, we have no clue.
Okay, but keep going.
Okay, he told Rel, like, tell Buddy, god dang, get a lawyer, bruh. We did that shit for him, he paid, you know? And then Garlington says, you know what I'm saying, to Garfield. I mean, so to Shannon, I'm sorry. And Shannon says, what? And Garlington says, yeah, that's what Funk told me. He was like, tell homie to chill out, bro. Now who's homie? And who's the bra? I mean, we have so many layers of unknown, and nested hearsay is exactly that. That's the whole point.
Okay, so the short answer is yes, I've got your argument
Okay.
correct in terms of understanding what it is you're arguing.
Yes.
Okay.
Your Honor, to be clear, because I may not articulate this well, my position with what Mr. Harvey just broke down, at least what these statements they say.
Yeah.
Un Funk, who was a defendant in this case, and the state believes was a YSL street gang member, him telling Garlington that Nichols needs to chill. Un Funk isn't charged with the murder of Shamel Drink, so him telling him that is a statement in furtherance of the
Okay.
conspiracy.
Nichols needs to chill. That's not what I'm concerned about.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
But
I'm concerned about the Funk saying, Garlington saying Funk told him that Nichols said he needs to pay. We did this for him, so he needs to get us a lawyer.
And Your Honor, the state feels.
But send it to Rel, not to
It
Funk.
doesn't matter who he said it to. But it sounds like Funk heard it regardless.
No,
Do I have that part wrong?
I think you do, because he said it to Rel. Rel said it to somebody else.
Nichols said it to Rel.
Well,
Allegedly. Allegedly, I understand.
Yes, yes. And then Rel to Funk, then Funk to Garlington. So that's 4 layers at least.
So, Your Honor, two things is, and the court may just disagree with my argument, which in terms of.
What I'd like is some law.
Yes, Your Honor. So the case law I was referencing earlier, I will find this date, but there's no double hearsay issue. The statements are admissible without a showing of the declarant's personal knowledge. And I may have been off kilter where I was thinking of, this is what I was thinking of when I referenced to the court, that there's not double hearsay in this statement, is that under, and I will just cite to this motion because the court can read this but I will find the date. But the state's position is that it is co-conspirator. It is in furtherance. Like the fact that Garlington is concerned or receives this information, that Nichols made that statement.
I understand that part. I
Yes, Your
agree
Honor.
with that part.
So the kernel, that part in the middle.
You understand what my concern is,
I
Ms.
do.
Love. You seem to understand it before, and I'm sure Mr. Atkins understands it too. He's just too busy looking up trying to find the law.
That,
Yeah, go ahead.
that kernel in the middle, that Funk said, Nichols tells somebody, we did this for bro. Nichols saying, we did this for bro. Nichols saying, we did this for bro. I'll start out by saying, at best or worst, whichever you might want to look at it, Nichols is implicating himself and not Shannon necessarily. He hadn't said Shannon did anything. He's saying, me and somebody else did this for bro. So that's to start there as to Mr. Sharp's argument that it necessarily implicates Shannon, who has to push back. Number 2, Funk being a co-defendant of Mr. Nichols and a co-conspirator of Mr. Nichols relaying what Mr. Nichols told to him. Whether or not Mr. Nichols said it or not, it's statements that Umfunk is asserting Mr. Nichols gave to him, even though it's a statement against the penal interest of Mr. Nichols. The reliability of the statement, the statement itself being the hearsay issue, we believe is dealt with in that it would be Mr. Nichols, a co-conspirator of Umfunk, relaying something in confidence to Umfunk or saying something in confidence to somebody else who he considers a person reliable enough to share something that inculpatory with. Umfunk is not trying to harm Mr. Nichols, so he's not going out lying on Mr. Nichols. He's sharing this information in an effort to help Mr. Nichols, get him to shut up and stop talking. They all are trying to get him to stop talking. So in terms of the reliability of the information, nobody here has any reason to share inaccurate information. It only furthers their purposes to be truthful about what's happening so that they can further protect themselves and inoculate themselves from any harm coming from this man talking. So the harms and dangers of hearsay that are normally present when, the whole reason it's kept out is, we don't know if it's true or not, are handled and dealt with by the circumstantial, I hate to use this, guarantees of trustworthiness given that are present in the way that this statement comes about. It's told in a way, it's relayed in a way that indicates it's shared in order to help, not to harm Mr. Nichols, to help all of them and keep them safe. So it's layered co-conspirator hearsay, if you will, but that first relaying of information, the declarant, Mr. Nichols, saying it to Umfunk, it would be definitely a statement against penal interest. But Mr. Greer, who is Umfunk, sharing that information is a co-conspirator statement, which we believe gets us past this idea that this is nested hearsay. And as far as the 403 argument that is being made, in order for it to be so unduly prejudicial as to permit its exclusion, it would have to lure the fact finder into declaring guilt on a ground different from proof specific to the offense charged. And that just doesn't exist here. So we don't believe that they have met, and by they, I mean the opponents of this information coming in, they have not met their burden of showing that this statement from Umfunk regarding Nichols telling on himself, and basically Nichols trying to get help for himself, like bro needs to pay for a lawyer. We did it for him. We don't believe.
Hey, no, sir, Mr. Harvey, stop right now. Stop right now. Stop right now. Mr. Harvey, sit down. I am not going to have you interrupt court. You may object in just a moment. We will get to your objection in a moment. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. There has been no showing that this information is so substantially more prejudicial than probative that it should permit the exclusion of what we believe is obviously relevant evidence.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Harvey, your objection. I don't even understand that to be what she said. Okay, well, the record will reflect what she said, but I understood her to be talking about what was being said within the context of this conversation we just listened to.
Your Honor, just,
Yes.
sorry. Go ahead, Mr.
I'm gonna listen to it again. Offline, not in court.
Your Honor, this is where I'm at with this. Just because the state says something is so doesn't make it so.
I understand.
And the state is saying, oh, well, this was done in furtherance of the conspiracy. This was done in furtherance of the conspiracy. The whole point of the hearsay rules, and I understand that the confrontation clause might not be implicated here, but the hearsay rules, the whole point of the hearsay rules is you get to see who's saying it, know what their basis is, you get to cross-examine them, they come to court, etc. And the problem here is the state is just sitting here saying, oh, well, clearly Mr. Umfunk did this to further the conspiracy and click. How do we know? How does she know? Maybe Umfunk, I'm not saying this is the case, but what if Umfunk was involved? Umfunk would have every reason to shift responsibility to other people. What about the next line in the hearsay ladder that we have? We don't know what people's motivations are. And just because the state says, well, their motivation was to do this or do that, she's not inside Umfunk's head. She's not inside Rel's head. So I reject that their argument that they can just label things as hearsay exceptions and it makes it so.
Well, I understand that. I take what everybody says as your argument in support of your position. I don't accept it as fact. It's an argument. I hear the counter argument. Sometimes I hear a lot more counter arguments back and forth after that. And then I make a determination about whether our evidence rules permit this particular evidence. The point of the hearsay rules and all of the evidence rules is so that to the extent the court can help it, only trustworthy information gets before the jury. And that's what we're trying to sort out here. So I understand that the stakes are high. I think that this might be a good time to break for the day. I will re-listen to this. Mr. Adkins, if you can find, either the date that I can find the motion or the case law itself, just send that to Ms. Pursfield. She'll send it on to me.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
And I will try to get the court and send to Mr. Atkins what I read to the court as the transcript of
That would be great. I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right.
All right. I know that y'all are all going to hate to hear this, but sometime during the day tomorrow, and I don't know when, and I don't know how long it's going to be, people are going to come in to work on what hopefully will be a fix to the sound issues we seem to have a lot of last week. And there are a couple of other things going on that the court needs to deal with as well, not with regard to this case, just in terms of scheduling tomorrow. It's going to be quite a challenge to figure out when we might actually be able to get here and use the courtroom for any, amount of time that will be worthwhile. And so we are not going to have a court day tomorrow. Y'all may have other cases to deal with, but to the extent you don't, please, continue to work on this case. We still have a lot of non-jury work to do. I think we did a good job this week of getting to the things that will be coming up in the next several weeks. So thank y'all, everybody, for working hard on that. And we're going to have to circle back on, the stuff that is still facing us in this wiretap and some other things. I understand the state is going to get witness 61 through the end, and the information about the exhibits generally coming in with those witnesses to the defense by Monday. And I will see everybody Monday at 8:45. We'll have the jury back with us then. Okay? Anything anybody needs to put on the record before we adjourn for the day?
The question, Your Honor, we were internally, we wrote down the dates that the court said that we had admin days, but as I was speaking with one of the counsels for defendants, she and I, only she and I, my team did not have the same recollection, was that there was another period of time that the court had mentioned that we would have the ability to further make these arguments. Was this the only week?
This is the only week so far that I know of, that I have established. I mean, I didn't establish this week, but I have not established other dates that we're going to be in court without a jury. We are going to have to determine what those are because we clearly need some more of them. But the dates that I've given to y'all and to the jury so far are dates that the jury will be out and we also will be out. So I'll just have to, I know one of the things I need to do is figure out some more in court for us, but non-jury dates. And I anticipate some of them will be maybe the third or fourth week of September. At some point, I'm going to try to make them either beginning of the week or end of the week, but I don't know yet. So I'll have to get back to everybody on that. All right. Anything else?
Just for the record, on that last argument that you're
Yes.
considering, it's OCGA 24-8-805. That is what we are traveling under. It's OCGA, Official Code of Georgia Annotated 24-8-805.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. I doubt if many people know that. They just know hearsay within hearsay, but thank you. All right. If there's nothing else, then we are adjourned.